About 2,000 megawatts of energy is now available for consumption, all of which has assisted in avoiding load shedding. However, we still need to speed up existing build programs to develop the reserves of energy needed to ensure that maintenance and outage challenges in our power plants do not negatively affect the economy and our people. Deputy Chair, exactly a year ago, I convened a meeting of the Presidential Infrastructure Coordinating Commission to discuss with premiers and metro mayors the growing problem of cable and metal theft from the infrastructure programs. We finalized the Criminal Matters Amendment Bill, which was then submitted to Parliament and which served in this House earlier this morning. I wish to recognize and appreciate the expeditious manner in which Parliament has considered the bill. The bill creates a new category of crimes for theft of cable and metal from public infrastructure and toughens both bail for accused and sentencing of guilty parties. This is meant to send a clear message to our resolve to stop cable theft, which is a serious economic crime. Compatriots, we are coming close to the end of the current term of local government, the sphere that is closest to the people. While the lives of millions have improved meaningfully, there are many others who are still waiting, who still need to see their lives changing for the better. They want water, electricity, housing, roads, and decent schools near their homes. They want municipalities that function better and which are caring and responsive. I would like to share with you today the progress we have made in implementing the Back to Basics program of revitalizing local government. It is the weaknesses and challenges that still remain on the path of improving the quality of life of all. That is the purpose of the Back to Basics program, which was launched during the second Presidential Local Government Summit on the 18th September 2014. Back to Basics is now well known and accepted and it was formally launched in all 9 provinces. It has been institutionalized. It is a standing agenda item in the President's coordinating council meetings and MINMEX. Premiers and MECs report regularly on progress in their respective provinces. The Interministerial Task Team on Basic Services was established and it is functioning well. Provincial Back to Basics task teams were established and are conducting hands-on monitoring. The teams have developed municipal support plans, and these have been formally adopted by municipalities. Support and intervention packages were prepared and implemented for identified hotspots, municipalities. The program is indeed becoming an integral part of local government governance and renewal. We have learned some key lessons during the initial phases of Back to Basics program, which are helpful in the implementation of the renewal program. I will mention just a few. We have confirmed that political instability and weaknesses in governance are 2 of the primary causes of poor service delivery at municipal level. We have learned that direct hands-on support yields improved performance. We have also learned some positive lessons from the various Section 154 support packages and the Section 139 interventions. Citizens' engagements are generally weak in those municipalities that are categorized as dysfunctional and at risk. In addition, municipalities with weaknesses in governance and corporate management functions such as financial management, human resource management, and supply chain management also tend to experience difficulties in service delivery. Also evident is that municipalities generally have weak technical capacity in planning, project management, design, and procurement of infrastructure. Some urgent delivery areas need attention, such as the removal of bottlenecks in the provision of housing, water, and sanitation. Corruption and fraud also remain a matter of concern in some municipalities. These lessons are instructive in the implementation of remedial programs to assist struggling municipalities. Let me emphasize, Deputy Chairperson, that we should avoid entrenching the perception that all municipalities perform badly or are struggling. Many are actually doing well and are trying hard to improve systems. Also important to note is that those who are provided with support through the Back to Basics program have responded positively, and corrective action is visible. Having mentioned these challenges, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I would also like to highlight some of the successes that we have experienced thus far as we continue supporting various municipalities. I will mention just a few municipalities given time constraints. These municipalities demonstrate what can be achieved with intensive support. The Eastern Cape Provincial Department responsible for local government assisted the Ikwezi municipality through funding to the amount of 1 million rand, 1,012 rand to improve their service delivery outcomes. It also assisted Inkwanqa municipality through payments of their ESCOM debt to the amount of 2 million rand and service delivery creditors to the amount of 5 million rand. The Makana municipality was also supported to pay their ESCOM debt to the amount of 18 million rand and service delivery related creditors to the amount of 7 million rand. Water supply problems have also been attended to in the municipalities following the upgrading of infrastructure. An intervention was completed at the Great Kai local municipality with procurement and installation of new meters and maintenance of faulty meters to 10 households and 5 businesses that consume large amounts of electricity. While the number of households seems small, the main focus was to train the municipal official so that he can continue to perform this work on his own. The expected outcome is accurate metering and billing of consumers, both residential and business. Elundini municipality in the Eastern Cape was unable to provide piped water to households in 107 villages due to a shortage of funding as well as a lack of technical capacity. The villages in the municipality experienced severe water supply backlogs for many years. With the technical support from the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, the municipality conducted a feasibility study for the eradication of its water backlog. The study revealed that the municipality will need about 300 million rand to eradicate the water backlog in the 107 villages. The funding was secured from the Municipal Infrastructure Grant, and also development support from the Kingdom of the Netherlands. The project entailed the provision of new water infrastructure and 10 years of operations and maintenance support. At least 2,000 temporary and more than 100 permanent jobs will be created during the implementation phase. Although most of the Eastern Cape municipalities have municipal managers, in 8 municipalities, this position or these positions are vacant. Officials have been seconded to fast-track the recruitment process of municipal managers in OR Tambo, King Sabata, Dalinjebo Municipality, Magana, Port St. John's, Konkobe, and Ikwezi. The 2 outstanding municipalities are Inkwata and Great Kai, which are affected by demarcation. We continue to support Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. Included in the support package has been a commitment of finance and technical support from various government departments and agencies. In the Free State, 12 municipalities reached the August 2015 municipal infrastructure grant expenditure target of 12%. These are Kopanong, Naledi, Tokoloho, Nala, Setolo, Setsoto, and Ketowana, Maludi, Pofong, Pumelela, Mantsopa, Mokaka, Ngwate, and Mensi Mahol. Mensi Mahol. Mensi Mahol. That's fine. We welcome these positive developments and encourage others to work harder as well. Gauteng Development of Human Settlements, the Gauteng Department of Human Settlements has funded the implementation of numerous infrastructure-related projects in Bergersdal, in the West Donaria local municipality. The increase in the size of the indigent population who cannot pay debts due to retrenchments has put a burden on West Donaria and Randfontein local municipalities. They have to provide free basic services to the ever-growing number of people who are without an income. Notwithstanding this, the municipalities have managed to meet their service delivery obligations to communities, including the servicing of their ESCOM account that was in arrears. In the original categorization of KwaZulu-Natal municipalities last year, 8 municipalities were categorized as requiring intervention, only Mtuba municipality has remained in the category of requiring intervention. Umvoti and Amajuba have progressed to what is defined as the challenged category. Abakulusi, Ugu, Umzinyati, Pofana, and Endumeni moved to the functional category. With regards to infrastructure, some newly established communities around Umvoti local municipality in Greytown were not being provided with piped water due to limited available capacity of the existing water treatment works. Umvoti local municipality lacked technical capacity to plan and manage the implementation of this project and requested the municipal infrastructure support agent to support with project management, including planning, supply chain management, execution, and construction management. Phase 1 of this project has been completed. More than 8,000 households are currently benefiting and are now receiving water. Phase 2 of the project is under construction at 40% progress to date. About 3,000 households will be benefiting from the completion of the Phase 2 project, the completion of the Phase 2 project. It is anticipated that the project will be completed by July 2016. A total budget of 490 million rand has been approved for the project. When Phase 2 project is complete in July 2016, more than 11,000 households will be benefiting in receiving water. Other municipalities such as Umkhanyakude still experience serious water shortages due to infrastructure backlogs and the drought. The area is the worst affected municipality. The department has allocated an amount of 90 million rand to assist with drought interventions. Interventions by the Department of Water and Sanitation include, amongst others, the drilling of boreholes, provision of 15 water tankers for water distribution, installation of static water tanks, as well as rehabilitation of water schemes in the short term. The KZN provincial government must be acknowledged for the firm leadership it has shown in managing the drought situation, as all sectors have been severely impacted by the drought, namely agriculture, environment, industry, and domestic users. In Mpumalanga, all local municipalities are currently installing water meters for all water reticulation projects. 31 pieces of land were acquired for housing programs. This was done to address the spreading of informal settlements in the Msukaligwa Dr. Pixley ka Isaka Seme, Umjindi, Tabacheu, and Tabacheu, Kiswer, Tabacheu, Kiswer, and Victor Kanye municipalities. In Northwest, the villages of Choseng, Mahlapa Neng, Mase in Dr. Ruth Mompati District Municipality in Northwest were faced with severe, reliable water supply problems for many years. There were very old concrete reservoirs which were leaking, and therefore available water was being wasted. The old boreholes was no longer a reliable source, and these municipalities were always experiencing interrupted water supply problems. Through support, the municipality secured funding from the Municipal Water Infrastructure Grant Program to the value of 9 million rand from the Department of Water and Sanitation. Construction began on the 18th November 2014 and was completed on 17 April 2015. The new boreholes are now providing reliable water supply to more than 1,000 households. On financial management, disclaimer audit opinions have been reduced by 6 municipalities due to the availability of supporting documents and effective oversight at municipalities in Northwest. The situation is indeed gradually improving. To fill critical vacancies, a number of senior managers from various provincial departments are deployed to municipalities. This is also important, Chairperson, as it demonstrates that the local government sphere is as important as the other spheres, if not more, given its closeness to the people. In the Northern Cape, support to Namakoi municipality led to the development of a council-approved recovery plan. The municipality is implementing its credit policy, and the collection rate has improved to 84%. Konubeka iklasi ngenamanzi la. Yabona ukuthi uphuza umoya. Oh, akhona. Sorry, Deputy Chair, just breathe a little bit whilst I'm drinking water. Cheers. Deputy Chair, The municipality is also paying its ESCOM electricity account arrears monthly as per their joint agreement, as well as paying the current account. The appointment of an acting municipal manager and an acting chief financial officer in Renosterberg municipality has facilitated the payment of the outstanding salaries of officials and councillors, as well as the payment of all outstanding third parties. The outstanding 215,000 Rand free basic energy ESCOM account was also paid in full. In the Western Cape, the provincial government intervened in Oudtshoorn municipality in terms of Section 139(1) to B of the Constitution, and it will remain in this category most post-December 2015. The province deployed forensic auditors to the municipality during August 2015 to conduct a forensic investigation. The Western Cape Provincial Treasury also conducted an assessment of the finances of the municipality to identify, quantify gaps, and provide support. All acting arrangements at senior management level from internal staff have been terminated, bringing some sense of stability in the administration. Deputy Chairperson, I must emphasize that we strongly welcome the report of the Auditor General, which shows improvements, but also areas that require serious attention. We also agree with the Auditor General that there should be consequences for bad management. Ministers, as executive authorities running the departments, have been spoken to in this regard. The matter was discussed extensively in the last cabinet with a view to finding solutions. They must ensure that officials under their management fulfill all prescripts when utilizing public funds. In most cases, it is the failure to follow procedures stated in the Public Finance Management Act that is a problem, and not that money has been stolen. Ministers will ensure that their accounting officers, the Directors General, implement the remedial action stipulated by the Auditor General. We will discuss the matter with premiers and the SA Local Government Association, as well as when we meet next in the President's Coordinating Council. We congratulate all government departments that obtained clean audits for the first time. They have proved that it is possible to improve management systems in government. The intensive back-to-backs program is clearly making an impact in municipalities, in financial management, as visible in the just released municipal audit outcomes for the 2013-2014 financial year. All provinces showed an improvement in their audit outcomes, with the biggest contributors to the total number of clean audits being Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Western Cape. For municipalities, 96% submitted their financial statements for auditing by 31st August 2014. This is a major improvement from the 78% in 2007 to 2008. The number of unqualified audit opinions on financial statements improved to 58% from 49% in the previous year. The Gauteng Provincial Treasury assisted the two municipalities that are at risk, namely the Westonaria and Randfontein local municipalities, with preparations for the 2014 to 2015 audit by the Auditor General. This support resulted in a significant improvement in the financial management of both Westonaria and Randfontein local municipalities. In the Free State, through the intensive interventions of the back-to-back crack teams, as well as the Premier's Operation Hlasela program and the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, some municipalities improved their audit outcomes. These are Nehawu Metro from qualified to unqualified. Tokologo, LM from qualified to unqualified. That's say, eh? And Naledi LM from disclaimer to qualified. In Gauteng, both Randfontein and Westonaria further demonstrated improvement in overall capital expenditure and municipal infrastructure grant spending as at the end of June 2015. This shows other municipalities that positive change is possible. Under the leadership of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, government will continue and accelerate the hands-on approach. In the next phase of the back-to-back approach, government will work smarter and innovatively to increase the impact. We will make better use of available monitoring mechanisms such as announced municipal visits, spot checks of supply chain management processes, implementation of forensic reports, recommendations, and site visits of municipal infrastructure grant-funded projects. Corruption will be tackled with vigor and determination, as the uprooting of corruption is a core objective of the Back-to-Back program. Already, 222 officials were dismissed for fraud and corruption in the 9 months from October 2014 to 2015. Going forward, anti-corruption measures will include the monitoring of the implementation of the recommendations of all forensic investigations into municipalities, a campaign with organized business will be embarked upon to counter private sector involvement in corruption in municipalities. Debt owed to municipalities by business and residential sectors are constraining municipalities. A specific campaign will be launched to alleviate this obstacle. The improvement of the billing systems of selected municipalities will receive dedicated attention. Honorable Deputy Chairperson and members, I want to thank the leadership of all 9 provinces and each and every municipality for their active participation in the Back to Basics approach. Deputy Chairperson, I would now like to talk about the 2016 local government elections preparations. The trend since democracy has been to break down barriers of race and inequality. This has led to the rationalization of the number of municipalities from 1,262 in 1995 gradually to 278 in 2011. In August 2015, the Municipal Demarcation Board proposed a further reduction of 19 municipalities after the 2016 municipal elections. There will thus be 259 municipalities across the country, assuming that the Sedibeng district municipality decision is reversed by the court. Should the court uphold the Municipality Demarcation Board's Section 26 notice confirming the amalgamation of Ikwezi, Kamtebuo, and Bavian's local municipalities, this will result in a further reduction of 2 municipalities. We believe that the proposed changes will lead to better governance and stronger functioning municipalities. The local government elections must be held within 90 days from May 2016, and preparatory work is being done. The number of councillors for each municipality, for each municipal council was gazetted last year. The Municipal Demarcation Board is presently busy with the delimitation of wards, after which they will hand over the final ward boundaries to the IEC for them to take the preparatory work forward. We will provide support as government, as we always do. The IEC has run efficient, free and fair local government elections for years now. We do not anticipate, therefore, any hassles in the organization of the 2016 elections. Deputy Chairperson and members, drought is being experienced in some parts of the country, and these conditions have been occurring over the past several years. We have established an interministerial committee led by COCTA to respond to the challenge. The Department of Water and Sanitation also allocated an amount of 352 million rand for water projects in the affected municipalities, while other departments nationally, provincially and locally are also allocating funds. Water restrictions are being imposed by municipalities and the other water services authorities to control water usage and reduce the pressure on water resources during the period of drought. In addition, all spheres of government are working together to provide support to communities and farmers. It is a difficult situation with serious implications for the economy. It calls for us to work together closely to mitigate the impact. We thank premiers and executive mayors for responding swiftly to assist municipalities and affected sectors. Important is for all spheres to promote the saving of water and fight water losses. Our country loses 7 billion rand a year to water leaks. In other words, the drops that come out of the taps and the toilets and everything have been calculated to this amount. In other words, billion. Serious. Absolutely. So we should immediately call for plumbers to come and fix. The water department has launched the campaign of about 30 volunteers who are being trained to go around the country fixing these. Already 15,000 has been launched. There will be another 15,000. And also it provides some little relieving work because they get some stipends for that. And many of them are very highly qualified people. It is for this reason that we have introduced the Water Leaks project, where government is to train, as I was saying now, 15,000 young people as plumbers and artisans to eliminate water leaks in communities. Honorable members, Honorable Deputy Chair, in the short term of 14 months, the government-wide commitment to The back to basics approach is evident and visible. We can show the results. If we continue to work in this way, I am convinced that the services that government provides will be provided in a timely manner, on an affordable basis, and close to where our citizens live. When we do this, our citizens' experience of local government will be a happy one. Deputy Chair, as you have realized, this year I decided not to deal with a number of issues, but to deal in the main with the issues of municipalities, because it is a very important level of our government, because it is perhaps down there we think is the most unimportant one. In fact, it is vice versa. Because that's where, if you talk about delivery, everything, that's where you deliver. You don't deliver somewhere up there or in the middle. You deliver where the people are. In old democracies, people who lead the municipalities are in fact former ministers. In the sense, the most experienced citizens are always deployed at this level. I'm sure because we are still new, we're just 21, we are still grappling with that. In other words, people who end their terms in national, provincial government need to be deployed there so that we can master the delivery. Well, that is what we are all about. I therefore thought this is a matter we need to focus on. This is what we need to discuss, particularly because the NCOP is the part of Parliament that focuses on this matter more than any other thing. It is therefore very important that we spend time, we focus, we create a clear understanding of what is happening at the local government. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, President. May I therefore call on the Chairperson of the Council, Honorable Modise, to continue the debate.
Deputy Chairperson, Your Excellency, the President of South Africa, President Jacob Zuma, provincial delegates, premiers, and leaders of delegations, honorable members of this august House, the most important sphere of government, the leadership and representatives of organized labor, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, the President of South Africa, we thank you for the address in the NCOP today. Under the theme of working together to build on the advances of our democracy for a better life for all. It is a befitting theme. This annual address of the President gives us the opportunity to reflect on the efforts made by all three spheres of government towards building a better South Africa. I want to argue, though, Deputy Chair, that the annual address of the President can also be extended to a wider reflection of the state and therefore the people of all the diverse interests of our country. Parliament, together with the provincial legislatures and municipalities, are South Africa's legislative sector. You can say it is the first or the second or the third arm of the state. The Constitution does not say. The Constitution simply entrenches the three arms of state, balancing one another. And therefore, we argue, Honorable President, that the legislative sector is very much the central part of the state. All the two arms find that they play on the legislative sector. It was also fitting, honorable members, that when the executive authority of Parliament felt that there was an overreach, too much of inflow into the business of Parliament, that we called upon the head of state, not just the head of the executive, the head of state to convene all of us, the three arms of state, to discuss this matter. We're very happy, Honorable President, that you did indeed convene this matter. We are very happy that you led us to find one another as the three arms of state, to discuss and to look for way forwards. Because that overreach is also anticipated in the Constitution. So at all times, because there is an anticipation in the Constitution, we need to be alert and we need to be able to say, as the arm of the state on whose toes the other arms are standing, we do have the right to call for the referee to say, kulingene manje. And that is what we did, Honorable President. Honorable President, we want to say that it is gratifying that you today address this House during the 16 days of activism against the abuse of women and children. This program, this campaign, was championed by the ANC due to the continued commitments to addressing the abuse of vulnerable persons in our society. Deputy Chairperson, this bears the testimony of our government to ensure that the lives of peoples are bettered. We are also encouraged that government has begun to give more focus on disability, on the elderly, on the geo-spread of the peoples of South Africa, because you cannot talk of equality unless you address all these vulnerable groups. Deputy Speaker, added to this advantage today, we want to say that the ANC and the people of South Africa are generally celebrating, commemorating the Freedom Charter, the 60th anniversary. This is a guiding document which shaped our collective thinking and laid the foundation of our Constitution. The Freedom Charter is the blueprint that mapped out the South Africa we envisaged as early as 1955. And this was done despite the most repressive, inhuman, the harsh and cruel conditions that were meted out to Africans in particular, but to blacks in general. We remain resolute in our collective resolve to the attainment of freedom and of a better life for all our people. Honorable President, the Fifth Parliament recognizes that there is a need to better agency, speed, better ways, better efficiencies with which we need to do our job. In our pursuit, we also will go back to the prescripts of the Freedom Charter and the Bill of Rights. We also want to say that this Fifth Parliament, Honorable President, developed a new orientation with a new vision, informed by our strategy and objectives for this Fifth Parliament. We have accepted that we need to accelerate the pace of development in making, not just passing, in making laws which enable our people to really begin to enjoy the fruits of our liberation. If I remember well, President, you taught me at some point that democracy was not just about the will of the majority, that it was also about enabling those that are unable to exercise, to identify their freedoms, to exercise them fully, socially, economically, and politically. That is what the Fifth Parliament is about. We want to enhance oversight and accountability over the work of the executive. We want to develop a more nuanced role for Parliament in cooperative governance. We want to ensure effective and responsive public participation in our programs and our activities. We want to ensure that, mirroring the legislative sector internationally, Parliament engages and consolidates South Africa and cooperations across the world. We want to see that consolidation and implementation of integrated processes that we must do to fulfill our constitutional responsibilities are done. We want to ensure that we build a capable and productive parliamentary service that will deliver to its members so that they deliver to their constituencies. Therefore, Mr. President, the NCOP has renewed its approach to interacting with provinces and organized local government. We have looked at our activities. We are more and more into joint planning with the two. We are also looking at mechanisms which will enable us to interact better and more efficiently. We, since last year, grappled with the constitutional provisions which says that, in fact, as the NCOP, we've got the responsibility for intergovernmental relationships. We have not been ashamed to say we were not experts. We have had several workshops on this matter to try and crystallize the role that, as the NCOP, we need to play. We are hoping that next year we will call upon the provinces, local government, the executive, and all the stakeholders to come and further interrogate this, which we think is a role that we must play better. We have also looked, Honorable President, at the constitutional responsibilities of the NCOP in the interventions on provinces and on the municipalities. We do want to now bring on board sometime next year all the other stakeholders, so that when the NCOP begins to do what the Constitution says it must do, across the board, across the government, and across the society, it is understood that we are playing that role, and we must play that role unequivocally, unafraid. We want to say that this activist and responsive parliament must be geared towards the total improvement of the quality of life. And therefore, we want to ensure that what is set out in the development plan begins to show that integrated planning across cities, across villages, is something that we will play oversight on. We want to see across cultures, across ethnic groups, development that says all South Africans are equal. We want to see, President, somewhere in this framework, something that will say that Democratic Republic of South Africa is beginning to address issues of inequalities. And therefore, as the NCOP, we want to sponsor a thought to the executive that the way we budget must be changed to address the needs on the floor. Because for as long as, Honorable President, we focus on the numbers per province, those provinces which are lagging behind not because of 1994. Those provinces which still have a big gap of covering up on basic infrastructure will continue to lag. Therefore, we want South Africa to begin to look at needs and the real leveling of the playing fields. President, we are currently the hosts of a delegation that is led by a very experienced politician, a former speaker of one of the federal states of Russia, the Honorable Tupanov. Yesterday, he cracks a joke and he says he thought that Russia, having been an imperialist and something in between after the time of Gorbachev and now steadily going towards democracy, was quite experienced. But he said, what we beat them with is that they have never experienced a strike in parliament. We are, honorable members, in the middle of the strike. We are addressing the strike. We are ensuring that the business of parliament is not interrupted. We also acknowledge that some of the issues that the workers of parliament have put in front of us are valid. We query the disobedience of the law, but we are also tempering mercy with justice. And therefore, we are in serious negotiations. We are hoping that by next week, things will be back to normal. We are also saying that, President, SALGA is represented in this chamber. It is, therefore, one of the stakeholders that we must honestly service as this chamber. It has raised a number of issues around the legislation that they had pointed out in the NCOP and to the executive, which they have said have negative impact on how they implement them. We want to say that the executive, through you, sir, need to pay attention to this because some of the negative impact of the decisions and of the legislation enacted by us negatively begin to affect the functioning of the municipalities. We also want to say that the NCOP started off last year with 86% of it very new. That percentage has recently increased because we have, again, new members in the NCOP. Now, when you look at like houses, Honorable President, we find that, for instance, this honorable member leading the delegation from Russia is a former speaker and a long-term experienced politician. He was deliberately taken to get into the Federal Council of Russia. When you go to the House of Lords, you understand why they do not need the orders in the House, but they self-regulate. You understand why it is not necessary to bring in the ministers into that House because it is experience, it is expertise that is brought into the House. The little we are appealing for is across government, across the parties, for a little bit less hemorrhaging of the NCOP, because we need to build this capacity to do what the Constitution says we must do. I want to also say that in the last seconds, we have looked at the impact of legislation. We will be announcing a panel which will be sponsored by the people who have always sponsored the legislative support sector to look at all the legislation that we have had. And I thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairperson of the Council. Therefore, I'll call on Honorable Msimang to continue the debate.
Deputy Chairperson, thank you very much. Receiving today's topic, I was reminded of our great statesman's speech on the 2nd of May 1994 when he received the outcomes of the first real South African democratic elections. Tata said, and I quote, "We are rolling up our sleeves to begin tackling the problems of our countries, the country faces. We ask you to all join us. Go back to your jobs in the morning. Let's get South Africa working. For we must, together, without delay, begin to build a better life for all South Africans. This means creating jobs, building houses, providing education, and bringing peace and security for all." Close quote. He continues to say, "We are here to honor our promise. If we fail to implement this program, that we will be betraying the trust the people of South Africa has vested in us. We want every political organization that participates in the government of national unity to feel that they are part and parcel of a government machine which is capable of accommodating their views within the context of the reconstruction and development program. We do not want to reduce them into a mere rubber stamp to rubber stamp the decisions of any organization, except to say that the program has to be carried out without any reservation." Close quote. No one in their right mind can deny that since 1994, progress has been made in improving the lives of South Africans. It is also true that progress under the President Zuma has stalled. Nepotism is the order of the day. Abuse of state resources is the norm in departments across all levels of government. Corruption is at an all-time high. Corruption that sees more and more South Africans being robbed of opportunities to improve their lives. Let me talk about the city in which you are a resident, Mr. President. A city which happens to be the biggest metropolitan in Africa and the third in the world, Tshwane, the capital city of South Africa. I'm not sure if you know, but the highest paid public official in South Africa happens to be the city manager there. He even earns more than you, Mr. President, in this city. He even earns more than you, as I said, Mr. President. But what is so sad is that we are now paying for blunders that him and the executive of that city have gotten us into. I'm not sure if you know that the people of South Africa paid for Nkandla, but the people of Tshwane and Tshwane alone have to pay for 8 times or more of what we paid for in Nkandla. Even after warnings by Minister Pravin Gordhan and Nhlanhla Nene, the executive there continued to commit the city and its residents to a contract with PEU for smart meter prepaid electricity at the cost of billions. Now, more than R1 billion needs to be paid to unbundle this mess. Money that could have gone towards building houses, clinics, maintaining aging infrastructure, now needs to be paid to ensure that we can settle out of court or this PEU contract. Our people are robbed. People of Hammanskraal and surrounding areas are subjected to drinking dirty, smelly water that sometimes have maggots coming out of it. Our people are robbed. The city cannot afford to employ qualified people or stock up on chemicals needed to clean this water, or to make sure that the water purification plants are maintained and updated as they need to be, so that people can get clean water in the areas of Hammanskraal and the surrounding areas. Our people are robbed. This is a city that is heavily bloated at the top management level, but doesn't have people who does the actual job. A classic example of too many chiefs and no Indians. Our people are robbed. You have RDP houses that were built at a cost of 850,000 a unit next to the Soulsville hostels, but cannot be occupied because they've been declared unsafe. They need million rands more to repair so as to be suitable for occupation. This, while millions of our people are waiting for housing opportunities. Again, our people are robbed. In this city, Nicki Minaj made 10 million rand without even setting foot in that city. This for failed Tribe 1 Dinukeng Festival, which saw the city invest close to 100 million rand on infrastructure which doesn't even benefit the residents of this area. Roads that lead nowhere, overgrown grass in the actual concert venue, missing Wi-Fi connections and more is all that is left of this mess. In this city, I'm sure, as is the case in many other cities, government jobs and EPWP opportunities are only reserved for card-carrying members of the ruling party. Councillors would go as far as telling people they will never get a job if they are supporters of the DA or the EFF. But I cannot say that I'm surprised, because they have heard and learned from the big chief, who encourages people to invest in the ANC to secure their business success and to make sure that the ANC is put first before the South Africans and its constitution, denying our people opportunities. Again, I say the people are robbed. It is things like this that contribute to the failure of truly transforming South Africa into a country that dreamed of. Freedom, fairness, and opportunity is what the people of South Africa are crying for, and that is what we will start giving them. And it starts with winning Tshwane. I'm Solim Simanga, and I will make sure that when we take over that city next year, we do govern it better. I thank you.
Thank you. Order. The Honourable Masualle, Premier, Eastern Cape.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. His Excellency, the President of the Republic, President Zuma, the Honourable Chairperson and Deputy Chairperson of the Council, honourable members, colleagues, fellow premiers and other provincial delegates, it gives me pride to have the opportunity to participate this morning in this debate under the theme Working Together to Build on the Advances of Our Democracy to Build a Better Life for All. Honourable Chairperson, we meet in this assembly this morning also on the eve of yet another milestone, the 20th celebrations of the adoption of our country's constitution way back in 1996. That constitution, in its founding principles, compels us to improve the quality of all citizens by freeing the potential of each person. I'm proud, Honourable Chairperson, to say since the adoption of that constitution, and indeed since 21 years of this democratic transition, there has been deliberate and systematic efforts at both national and subnational governments to mobilize the people and enlist their energies and skills in inaugurating a new consciousness about the past, about the present, as well as the future of this country. On behalf of the Eastern Cape delegation, which I'm proud to lead, I'm here to report, with the little time we have, on some of the progress we've made building on the advances of our democracy, and we can say without fear of contradiction that we continue to record impressive advances. Honourable Chairperson, only last week, under the leadership of the President of the Republic, Cabinet welcomed Judge Mandisa Muriel Maya as the Deputy President of the Supreme Court of Appeal, as well Justice Nonkosi Zoliswa Mhlanhla as the Judge of the Constitutional Court. This was adding on top of an earlier appointment in June this year of Justice Nambita Dambuza to the same Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein. Honourable Chairperson, we are proud as the Eastern Cape Province to have produced the kind of jurists that the country found no equivocation in getting them to be appointed to these levels, and this is reflective also of the commitment of this country to gender equality at all levels. These jurists, Honourable Chairperson, join the list of many other professionals, particularly black professionals, accountants, that we continue to produce and contribute to the skills capacity, the skills base of the country as a whole. Honourable Chairperson, we've committed ourselves to developing well-educated, well-empowered people who will help us to build a productive, socially cohesive, and well-governed country and province. In improving the performance of the education system in line with the commitment to opening the doors of learning and culture for all learners. Those in the schools, quintiles 1 to 3, numbering 1,668,390, benefit from the no-fee school policy that is applicable in the entirety of the province. Indeed, for those learners and their parents, fees fell a long time for them. In addition, Honorable Chairperson, almost 58,000 of our learners who had the burden of traveling long distances to schools without the necessary support or the burden brought to bear on their parents, they participate and benefit from the Scholar Transport Program. This is meant to make it easier for them to access education. The access over a number of years continues to be improved, where in the past a great number of them could not participate in schooling. Consequently, as a result of these initiatives, many of our children are at school. Only last year, when the Minister of Basic Education was making the awards, the top National Achiever Awards, 4 out of 9 of those awards went to learners from the Eastern Cape for top honors in mathematics, physical science, including Luvo Luzipo, a rural learner from St. James Senior Secondary School in Tsofimvaba, who benefits from these comprehensive packages. Honorable Chairperson, we continue to make strides in improving the health status of the 6.8 million citizens of our province. As part of the national program to attend to this as a priority, access to health services continues to be improved. Only last year, we have recorded 292,871 households that have been reached through better organization of the state by our ward-based outreach teams. Access to antiretroviral treatment have increased by 25,000 from 309,153 at the beginning of the current financial year to 334,828 as at August 2015. This is also another attempt at really making the quality of life of our people to improve. We're winning the fight in the reduction of mother-to-child transmission. Only 112 of the 15,606 HIV-exposed babies that our system has netted were or could be infected with HIV. Honorable Chairperson, in the quest to provide better health care, we're continuing to record improvement in terms of infrastructure delivery. Dorangenza, Frere Hospitals, Frere Cecilia Makiwane, and other hospitals are beneficiaries of the infrastructure bill program led by the Honorable President of the Republic. Only last year, the President also launched Operation Pagisa, which as a province, it is an initiative that will help us step on the potential of the more than 800 kilometers coastline we enjoy as a province. To date, the ocean's economy is steaming ahead by unblocking key constraints in port usage, which has unlocked potential investment in excess of 1.25 billion rand in contracts. Transnet Freight Rail has also unleashed some of its new locomotives, and we're beginning to see a lot of work in that regard. It helps to enhance the capacity of the economy in the province. We are seeing a lot of improvements and also the potential at further investments, for instance, in respect of the composite catamaran production at the port of Port Elizabeth. These are improvements made towards making better the lives of our people. Honorable Chairperson, we have also committed ourselves to be the energy hub of the country, particularly building on the necessity of renewable energy. We boast many of the wind energy resources, investment in that respect, and we're adding to the national grid in an attempt to address some of the energy shortages that the country has experienced. Thank you, Mr. President. That matter is being resolved steadily, as you have correctly observed. We're also happy to say, in exploring further diversification of the energy mix in the country, we are also really looking to forge ahead with some of the alternative sources for energy generation in the country. Honourable Chairperson, towards concluding, I have to say that we are not daunted. We are quite determined, and indeed, where perhaps from the comfort of the benches in this assembly and others, there would be those loud-sounding, nothing voices, perhaps that would say, if you didn't come from this country, nothing is happening. Indeed, we are poised, we are not deterred, we continue to build on the successes that we are making. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Makwe. The Honourable Makwe.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, His Excellency President Zuma, our leadership from the South African Local Government Association, premiers, provincial MECs and special delegates, honourable members. It is my honour and privilege to participate as a proud member of the African National Congress in this sitting of the National Council of Provinces and to present some thoughts on the economic transformation and perspectives on South Africa's role in the global arena, what we in the legislatures called international relations. It is fundamental that we together with other parties search for strategies and together with other parties join hands while working together to build on the advances of our democracy and a better life for all. We have learned in our struggle to liberate this country that together we can do more. Our democratic government is at this time in our history urging all South Africans, and especially men, to join in the international and national campaign where we focus our energies and attention on activism for no violence against women and children. Gender-based violence is a scourge that plagues our country, and no effort should be spared to rid our society of this scourge. The challenge is so big that government alone can impossibly make the desired impact. Every caring and peace-loving South African must participate in this campaign. By acting together, we will move South Africa forward. Although this government chairperson managed to capture and put an end to the politically inspired violence that engulfed many parts of our country pre-1994, it might be necessary that we remind ourselves that in 1985, there was a minimum of 10 young people being killed per day in this country. 10 per day. Our country has had a long history of violence perpetrated by the apartheid regime and those who were part of it. The culture of violence is stubbornly holding its own. This government acknowledges and appreciates the many organizations and agencies that are consistently working on promoting peace and security. Such commitments and efforts are never in vain and seldom acknowledged. Allow me, therefore, to, on behalf of the ANC, thank all those who are peacemakers in our country. In its 2014 election manifesto, the ANC undertook to do a number of things. Because of time constraints, I will just speak to each one of them under the different headings that we have. Many of our detractors, we know, are trying to derail these undertakings that I'm going to refer to now. These same reactionary forces are skeptical about the ANC and this country's capacity to deliver on our election promises. Where and when the ANC overcame the legacies and injustice of apartheid past, this can also be done in dealing with the challenges that we are experiencing today in the liberation and sustainable development that benefits all our people. Some parties shamelessly cling to the racial prejudices of the apartheid era and come to this podium merely to point fingers rather than offering solutions. It is the ANC and its alliance partners that liberated this country and its people. That commitment has now been adapted to build a better life for all. The constitution of the ANC will be taken seriously as we take the constitution of this country seriously, because we have developed that constitution. The national laws of this country will be upheld and respected by the ANC because we were the key drivers in the development of these laws. This ANC has a vision, it has conference resolutions, it has policies, and all this was developed through democratic participation and transparent processes with accountable provisions built into it. The actions of the ANC, therefore, that I want to concentrate on is firstly to consolidate the industrialization and infrastructure. At least one school is built in every week of this country. The construction of 2 new universities has been undertaken in Nelspruit and Kimberley, in Mpumalanga and Kimberley. Provincial governments proudly demonstrate a huge appetite in the actual construction of houses and new roads, with support from the Departments of Union Settlements and Transport and Public Works, respectively. Re-industrialization is visible in the special economic zones and industrial development areas like Ngqura in the Eastern Cape and Saldanha Bay here in the Western Cape. That was not started by the government of the Western Cape, but the national government under the leadership of the ANC, because we are committed to serve all people of this country. Secondly, the expansion program with appropriate initiatives from the state that is contained in our election manifesto. Quite clearly, we can show the electricity power stations that has been built in Mpumalanga and alternative energy sources in various parts of the Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, and the Western Cape. To empower and promote education and employment, as the ANC promised, most government schools offer no-fees education. As we heard from the Deputy Minister of Basic Education on Tuesday of this week when he appeared before this House. Also, our President, Jacob Zuma, recently announced that in 2016, university fees will have a 0 increase. NSFAS, that is already providing bursaries totaling 50 billion rand to South Africans in the last year, increased from 3 billion in 2009, its university allocations to 5.9 billion per annum. Chairperson, we're also looking at the building broad-based economic empowerment, where the DTI recently amended the BBEE Act. There is also investments in science and technology with the Meerkat Radio Telescope and Square Kilometre project in the Northern Cape, where science and technology is really bungling our minds. We also have a situation where learners in schools today are having access to iPads that are given to them. We also know that Wi-Fi facilities are available. We have made tremendous strides in science and technology. Then let's talk about the advances in the rural economy. We note with concern the climate change that is affecting us and the water shortages. Therefore, the ANC will make sure that when our delegation goes to COP21, happening very soon, they will have a very strong message to communicate on behalf of the people in this country that climate change has serious consequences for us. Chairperson, the development mentions indicates that indeed the ANC is a game changer, and the ANC is demonstrating through our actions how we are changing the game. We need to highlight our resilience to rise above the prevailing economic crisis, which creates deeper imbalances in trade and the finalization of the advanced economies in many countries throughout the globe. Chairperson, the ANC has a proud history that demonstrates that there are people in this organization that think and work. And those people we have deployed in Luthuli House. Luthuli House does not tell us what to do, because there is democracy that happens even from that sphere. And through this, Chairperson, Africa will rise and South Africa will rise with it, because this ANC has benefited from Africa and has an obligation to cooperate with other countries on our beloved continent. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The Honourable MEC, Police, Roads and Transport from the Free State, the Honourable Kompela.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Honourable President, Comrade Premiers of different provinces, Comrade MECs, members of the NCOP, honourable members, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to, firstly, on behalf of the Premier, say to the NCOP, would not be counted, and even if the Premier is not here, but the voice of the Free State will be counted. Chairperson, in all the challenges that the Honourable President alluded on to today, the serious economic challenges of this country, that this morning we can bear testimony, in spite of those challenges, we have made tremendous strides to create a better life for our people. An address anchored in the ANC unwavering determination to undo the injustices of the past and set the country into a path for a better life would never be detracted. Honourable Chairperson, the Honourable President and the party he leads understand the victory we achieved in 1994 with the advent of democracy in this country was never an end in itself, but a means to an end. We had the socio-economic challenges, social conditions of inadequate of jobs, unemployment, crime, poverty, housing, and the slow-growing economy remains significant challenges that we have to overcome. We have to answer questions honestly, as only we can do, whether our actions have genuinely sought to promote the well-being of South Africans. We echo as the Free State and say, yes, they had to. Hence, the ANC government speaks to the priorities such as building an inclusive economy that creates jobs, decent work, sustainable livelihood for inclusive growth, improving health profile of all South Africans, fight crime and corruption, and education, to name the list. In 2012, Honourable President, your cabinet adopted the National Development Plan, anchored on the pillars of the Freedom Charter, precisely to move the people of South Africa beyond achieving of a democracy to a better life for all. We are therefore highlighting the following as minor achievements, but big on its own standing for the ANC, for the people of this country, and the people of the Free State. In 2013, the Free State province had achieved the highest matric pass rate for the first time since 1994 of 87.4%. That record, Comrade President, will be broken by the Free State, nobody else. We will increase a full-time bursary from 29 people in 2009. We've increased to 7,500 in 2014-2015. 550 of those, Comrade President, went to white deserving scheduling, because the call for the African National Congress and your call that we must build a non-racial society, a democratic society, but poverty, it is all in the sectors of our life. And therefore, the 550 white students that we have given bursaries, their parents appreciate the work of the ANC that it has done. We'd even move a gap further, Chairperson, when the call was made that we must now go up and produce doctors and produce researchers of high quality, renowned researchers. We have 320 bursaries that we have given to those who are going to do doctorate and those who are going to be shrewd researchers of this country, unparalleled to any in the country. Chairperson, and the most important matter of security in this country, we have an Operation Penyatsotsi. That operation has yielded results. Because when we have come closer to a Tsotsi, you could hear he screams a little bit and tell us the truth, and nothing else but the truth. Honorable President, on the 18th and 19th, come to the Free State and the people will hear you scream from afar. Come to the Free State, they will hear you scream from afar. Honorable President, on the 18th and the 19th, we had a privilege of going to the second global high-level conference on road safety. Comrade President, it was humbling to hear Nigeria, Uganda, Tunisia, and say, go to South Africa and see, because all the time you're talking about carnage on the road in South Africa. We've made an impact, Honorable President, and the world is saying, South Africa, you are doing very well. We have not regressed, we've moved further to make sure that by 2020, as you made a commitment to the United Nations of having the accident of the world, we as South Africa and we as the Free State are going to be tremendously contributing to that goal to be achieved by South Africa. Honorable President, crime is diabolic. Crime is bad. Crime cannot be a crime that is disguised as people that are hungry. Crime cannot be disguised as people that do not have a place to stay when they slaughter women, they rape women, they kill elderly people. That is not crime. We are born out of abject poverty, and we grew out of abject poverty, but we never have an appetite to rape our grandmothers. We never had an appetite to kill people at all costs. And that, President, we have kept that to a stop in the Free State. 2 days ago, a lunatic went to a vegetable place and randomly killed 3 people, and he ran. As he ran, he killed his friends. Us with Operation Penyatsotsi, 24 hours is enough for us to have you and bring you alive. And we have done exactly that. We have done exactly that because that person now is in the police cells. And that particular person, Honorable President, is the one that even crossed into Lesotho and go and kill a very key witness who will testify around the mutilation of women parts by this person that is going on trial in the Free State. And it can't be crime unabated because there are people somewhere who are saying we are brutalizing the people. We are very brutal on crime, but very humble on the citizens of this country who are the law-abiding citizens. That's why we are number one, Comrade President. And we have retained that position for 3 years. Because with us, crime is something that we applaud a lot. We don't want it. And the police station in Tabo has been rated for the 3rd time now as the best police station. The Free State in the country has been rated the most safest province in this country. Those who think that they can grab the land in the Free State, come and see how do we deal with stopping those. Come and see. Because, President, when you arrive there, people have grabbed the land and even killed people. If we have not stopped them, you'd ask me from the police and say, what have you done? We have quickly stopped them and say, no, Matata Gutiman, you can't grab the land, you must get the land in a proper way.
Honorable Kompela, there is a point of order. Honorable Mkwena. Order, members, order. Honorable Mkwena.
Point of order, Chair.
Yes, sir.
The first land to be grabbed in this country was in the Free State. Thank you very much.
Okay, Honorable Mkwena, that was not a point of order. Honorable Kompela.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable President, we have created better life for people in this country. The world said to us we are number 18 in the world on the best roads. The world says to us, when you arrive in Brazil in the United Nations, you are number 18 in the world with the better roads. And we are number 3 as the province, Honorable President, in this country with best roads. We are number 1 in this country, Honorable President, with best gravel roads because ours in the Free State, we live on those farmers who take their produce to the market for us to live, and therefore we must do the roads properly. All the farmers, including of the other parties, Honorable President.
Honorable Kompela.
Thank you.
Honorable Hatting, are you on a point of order?
May I ask the Honorable Member a question? I'm so impressed with the Free State.
Honorable Kompela, are you willing to take a question?
I will take it outside. I just want to finish my story.
He is not willing, Honorable Hatting. Please take your seat.
Thank you.
Continue, Honorable Kompela.
But I'm saying, Honorable Chair, even the opposition party would call the MEC at 12 o'clock at night and say there is a farm killing in Memel in Vrede. Would wake up and take the chopper and go there. In less than 12 hours, we've apprehended this killer. But it was not nice for us to hunt him up until early in the hours in the morning. And that work is appreciated by the farmers in the Free State. And that work is appreciated by the people of the Free State, Honorable President. Others are writing letters and say, I think we're beginning to deal a serious blow to crime in this country, to create stability,
And
to
on
draw
that
investment.
note,
Thank you very
Kompela.
much, Honorable President.
Thank you very much, sir. The MEC for Transport and Public Works in Gauteng, the Honorable Vadi.
Chairperson, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to speak under your stewardship. On behalf of the Premier of Gauteng, the Honorable David Makuva, I'm honored to take part in this debate. The Gauteng provincial government has a bold vision to build a province as a seamlessly integrated, socially cohesive, economically inclusive city region. We want to be a leading economy on the African continent with smart and sustainable industries. We want an accountable, responsive, transparent and clean government and an active citizenry. And this is to be achieved by implementing a 10-pillar program for radical transformation, modernization and reindustrialization. Our vision for Gauteng is based on transforming and modernizing our economy, our space, the state, and the delivery of social services. This, we believe, is consistent with the agenda of the national government and that of the presidency. We believe that our program offers a comprehensive response to the structural problems facing our economy, including its monopoly structure and the exclusion of black people from the mainstream of the economy. It offers a more direct route through which we will realize the ideals of the Freedom Charter and the goals of the National Development Plan. In reflecting on today's theme, we would like to focus really on two matters. Firstly, to report on progress made on meeting the socio-economic needs of our people, and secondly, to reflect critically on whether or not we are contributing to nation building and social cohesion. One of the most important innovations introduced by our government is its Intivisano program. This aims to meet people's needs and to resolve their day-to-day problems. Practically what it means is that the entire provincial government, led by the Premier, together with the respective mayors and their committees, visit communities on every Wednesday and Thursdays to interact with citizens, to resolve their problems, and to learn from our people on how to promote their own development, to make them active participants in the process of social development. And drawing from the lessons of this Intivisano program, we have come to the conclusion, as the chairperson has said, that there is a need to improve on the discipline of execution, on the actual implementation of our plans, because that's really where the problem is. Can we master the art of implementing programs and plans of our government? Accordingly, we have taken a decision to govern with a sense of urgency, to sharpen our execution plans, and to consolidate centers of excellence. As the Municipal IQ report indicates, this has led to a decline in service delivery protests in our province, since residents now have direct access to leaders in government to address their concerns. In these community engagements, a very real effort has been made to develop and to revitalize the township economy. And this is a critical part of the economic development strategy in our province. In this regard, several measures have been introduced to grow the township economy and to develop more inclusive economies. For instance, the Departments of Economic Development and Finance have launched a special campaign to register local enterprises or companies. Our aim is to bring the township-based businesses into the mainstream economy through registration and formalization of local businesses. Chairperson and Mr. President, to date, over 3,600 township enterprises have been registered and stand to benefit from government's procurement processes. In addition, township businesses are being established to expand the township-based production. This includes community bakeries, mobile abattoirs, and enterprises to manufacture goods such as plastics, paper, towels, and furniture. Within the health sector in particular, cooperatives are manufacturing linen and providing food and other products to our health institutions. Moreover, we have provided financial support to over 1,000 SMMEs and cooperatives in this year alone. And close to 500 new SMMEs and informal businesses have been trained, and township-based tourism enterprises are benefiting from the development and promotion of 55 township tourism nodes. In line with our commitment to better leverage public procurement towards our economic transformation goals, over 600 million rand was spent on procurement from township-based enterprises. Over 90 townships have benefited in this regard, with top townships being Alexandra, Davidton, Hammanskraal, Katlehong, Mabopane, Regepark, Soshanguve, Soweto, and Tembisa. And significant strides have been made, Mr. President, in improving the payment to our suppliers within 30 days. We are now at a target of 92% across all government departments in the province. We have prioritized economic opportunities for young people in particular. And I think this is a sector of our society that we are really going to have to pay particular attention, just because of the demographics of our country. And if we don't address the restlessness of young people, we might be sitting on a social time bomb, as some of the research has indicated. So through our CEPO 500,000 program, we have recruited 27,000 unemployed young people. We have created 15,000 sustainable jobs and established almost 300 youth-owned township enterprises. A further 9,000 young people are benefiting from skills training, workplace career pathing, and experiential learning. In the economically depressed regions such as West Rand and Citibank, we have focused our attention on the agriculture value chain, tourism, and the green economy, and strengthening intra-African trade and investment. Linked to this, we have made important strides in developing a plan to improve energy security in our province. This includes municipal generation capacity, as well as alternative energy sources such as solar energy, waste to energy, and improved energy efficiency. In line with the NDP's directive to expand fixed capital investment as a key pillar of our economic development strategy, Gauteng this year hosted its first infrastructure investment conference and subsequently its e-governance conference. And 2 days ago, we had our major special development framework conference. This included the position of large infrastructure projects for private investment. Key in this regard is public transport infrastructure, MSC Compella. Following on the success of the Gautrain, an independent research has shown the positive economic impact that Gautrain has had on businesses around the Gautrain stations and in terms of job creation. We are currently pursuing a number of other major projects, such as the further expansion of the Gautrain. Chairperson and Mr. President, we are looking at developing the Gautrain now from Pretoria East, linking it to OR Tambo International Airport and taking it right through to Lanseria Airport. Last week, the Mayor of Ekurhuleni had launched the Aerotropolis Master Plan. This is going to transform the entire spatial situation around OR Tambo International Airport. I promise you in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, a completely new city will develop around OR Tambo International Airport. This is the scale of the development we're talking about. Together with PRASA, we are working on revitalizing Metro Rail. We want to reopen the Hammanskraal railway line. This was closed in the mid-1980s, and we are upgrading a number of core station precincts. And in partnership with Transnet, we are upgrading our logistics hubs and really planning for the Tambo Springs inland port, which will become the biggest inland port on the African continent, is at an advanced stage. And Mr. President, Chairperson, we are particularly pleased with the progress we are making with the bus rapid transit systems in the cities of Johannesburg, Tshwane, and Ekurhuleni. As part of strengthening our educational system, we now have 1.2 million learners in our province benefiting from the no-fee schools program. So the fees are falling. And we continue to provide school nutrition, free scholar transport, and school uniforms to those in need. We have stepped up our school safety and health interventions and have taken steps to address racism in schools wherever racism is rearing its ugly head. This is a scourge, a disease in society that we must tackle head on. We can't leave it and we can't turn a blind eye to it. And we have now enrolled 140,000 learners in our grade R classes. And very significantly, we are rolling out the iPads to our schools. Thousands of learners are beginning to apply the new technology and using it as an instrument of learning. In our effort to promote integrity in government and combat corruption within the administration, our Premier has established an integrity management office that is taking steps to prevent public servants from doing business with government. An important intervention has been the introduction of what we call the open tender system.
Your time has expired.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, the Honorable Mkhunu.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, the President of the Republic, colleague premiers in different provinces, members of the NCOP, thank you very much for this opportunity to report on how our province is contributing to the theme that we are dealing with today. Firstly, let me observe the fact that just yesterday, it was another day, as the President mentioned, where all of us were once more refocusing our attention to the scourge of abuse against women and children. It was another day when we were called, all of us were called to make a contribution to this unwanted activity affecting a larger part of our population. We agree that instead of this being confined to the 16 days in each year, we should develop a vision that covers all 365 days in terms of campaigning against abuse of women and children. It is for this reason that as KwaZulu-Natal we adopted 365 days campaign against rape in particular, which is on the rise in our province. And we are determined, this is a determined and conscious effort to fight the scourge of women abuse, especially rape in our province. In a society, as we believe, that wants to make meaningful progress in exercising and cleansing itself from any element of patriarchy, can't afford to make this fight to be seasonal. Close to this, we sought to look at various categories of society, particularly those that are on the periphery. We sought to prioritize at the beginning of this term the people that live in slums, especially in the larger urban centers, eThekwini and Pietermaritzburg. And we then embarked on a campaign on slum clearance. We prioritized Jigajo, which was one of the worst slums in Pietermaritzburg, and we're happy that the lives of the people of Jigajo are now taking a better turn towards better life for all as this slum is being cleared. We're determined to forge ahead, especially in eThekwini, particularly focusing on the transit camps, but also on clearing other slums that are still remaining and are a bedside in the endeavor to enhance our democracy and enhance the people's lives. The next program that we sought to prioritize, or category of people that we prioritize, otherwise are on the periphery, are people on commercial farms throughout the province. We took a note that while other sectors of society have sort of made progress of one kind or the other, the people who live on farms have tended to be behind or to trail behind the rest in a number of areas: provision of schools, provision of clinics and health centers, but also provision of housing due to them living on private land. We are happy to say that we've made progress in our vision of establishing agri-villages, starting with a small town called Utrecht under Amajuba municipality, where farmers, commercial farmers, and local people have agreed on this concept that will see our people in rural area, in the commercial farms being put in a position where they can access schools, cemeteries, clinics, electricity, but while at the same time living their own rural life and being assisted by government. And in terms of synergizing with commercial farmers and learning from them in terms of how they can make life better while in the rural area. The next program that we sought to prioritize is poverty eradication. Most recently, our president was at the United Nations in the National Assembly there, where member states adopted sustainable development goals. And this place a responsibility on our shoulders as government. They call for an end to poverty in all its forms and ensuring that we achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. They call on us to promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. Therefore, to ensure that human development is placed on a permanent state of progress, they further call on us to build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Towards this particular goal, we've realized that KwaZulu-Natal has no less than 3 million people who live in extreme poverty. And we sought to develop a program that talks directly to these 3 million people in a manner that targets them, not as statistics, but as a way of eliminating poverty in our province. We therefore developed a program called Poverty Eradication Master Plan. It prioritizes 5 municipalities in our province, namely KwaMaphumulo, Enkandla, Msinga, Vulamehlo, and Mhlabiyalingana. This we've done in consensus with Stats South Africa, and all of us agree that most of the people who constitute the 3 million people come in the main from these municipalities. This program has 4 pillars, namely social security and housing, enterprise development, employment creation, skills development, and agriculture. We've launched this program in 2 of the 5 municipalities, and we're hoping that we'll soon make progress in it. At the level of planning, we sought to develop our own provincial growth and development plan, which is carved after the National Development Plan, and cascaded down to the ward level, at district level, at local municipal level, and down at local government level, at ward level. In this regard, our own economic development follows this plan, and of course other aspects of planning. Top on the agenda, our agenda is dealing with strategic infrastructure, especially roads, both in urban and rural areas. At the moment, we are on the road to completing one of the biggest interchange, not only in South Africa, but also in the continent as a whole. That is in the area of eThekwini at Gateway. Progress is being monitored very well by SANRAL and the Department of Transport nationally, but we're also part of the development of that infrastructure. But apart from that one, the Minister of Transport nationally was kind enough to involve us in the other trend-setting road infrastructure and interchange in the form of another interchange on the N2 close to Gateway as well. And that one has been completed, and we're happy that all the people around eThekwini, especially the western areas, and those who are traveling on N2 will no longer experience great delays. On air travel as well, as part of improving our tourism, we have concluded an arrangement with the Turkish Airlines, and we're happy that we now have an airline that links up King Shaka International Airport and Istanbul, and it is now operating. On December 16, another international airline will be touching ground on King Shaka International Airport, this being the Ethiopian airline. But on the following day, on the 17th of the same month, December, Qatar Airlines will also be touching ground on King Shaka International Airport. This is part of encouraging tourism.
Please conclude.
This is part of ensuring that tourism, which is a main contributor in the GDP, is receiving our attention. Of course, on government services, health and education are proceeding well, and we're making progress, especially on HIV and AIDS. We've just registered a more than a 1 millionth person in terms of receiving ARVs in our province. Of course, drought is hitting our province, and of course, we're receiving a lot of attention from national. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Mtileni. Order.
Today we are listening to a man whose view of democracy is as twisted and as dangerous as a tsunami, telling us about what ought to be done to ensure democracy benefits all South Africans.
Honorable Mtileni, please take your seat. The point of orders. Honorable.
I would like to call a point of order that Honorable Mtileni must accordingly refer to the Honorable President in this House. There is no man that is listening to here. We're listening to Head of State.
Honorable Mtileni. Honorable Mkwena, are you calling for a point of order on a point of order?
I'm calling for a point of order on a non-point of order, Chair.
No. I am the only one who can judge whether it is a point of order or not.
Okay, is the Honorable Mtileni going to be allowed to continue with his speech?
Honorable.
No, because I need to know if this point of order is going to be sustained or not.
Honorable Mkwena, I will rule on the matter. Please take your seat.
Okay.
Honorable Mtileni, the rules of this House accords every member of Parliament the respect to be called honorable. The Honorable President is a man, yes. That is a biological fact. But in this House, he is also the Honorable President of the Republic of South Africa. That is my ruling. Honorable Mtileni, please proceed. Honorable Mkwena, you are insisting.
Thanks
on a
so
point
much for
of order.
rescuing me. Thanks so much.
I have ruled on the matter. Continue.
A man who shamelessly declares that this country, the corruptible African National Congress, is more important than the country.
Honorable Zwani, you are on your feet.
Thank you, Chair. I'm raising on a point of order.
Yes, ma'am.
Mtileni said that a man is addressing this House and is as dangerous as tsunami. Will he please withdraw those words?
Honorable Mtileni, did you say that a man as dangerous as the tsunami is addressing this House?
As I continue.
Did you utter the words, a man as dangerous as a tsunami is addressing this House?
Yes, I think I did.
Order, members. Please withdraw.
I can read that again.
Please withdraw the words, a man as dangerous as a tsunami.
But I'm debating, Honorable Chairperson. I cannot withdraw that. I'm debating.
Honorable Mtileni, you are debating.
Yes.
Ordinarily, please sit down, Honorable Mkwena. I'm busy with this member here. I am busy with a point of order. You cannot call a point of order on top of a point of order. I am ruling on a point of order. Honorable Mtileni, I will be very slow. Ordinarily, I would allow that in a point where, as a point of debate. In this particular instance, you are deliberately impugning on a member of this parliament. And that is why you must withdraw. Withdraw. Honorable Mtileni, I'm waiting.
No, Honorable Chair, I'm not going to withdraw.
Honorable, order members, I am
I'm not
ruling.
going to withdraw this one.
Honorable
Because
Mtileni,
this is a point of debate. I'm debating.
I...
And your members said many things that they should have withdrawn as well, but we did not challenge them because
Honorable
they were
Mtileni.
debating.
Honorable Mtileni, I am instructing you to withdraw.
Chair, I don't think I'm going to withdraw this one.
Honorable Mtileni, you are instructed to withdraw that remark or withdraw from the House. There is no point of order that you are calling on my ruling, Honorable Mkwena. No, there is no point of before.
There is a point of order, Chair.
Honorable Mkwena, I am ruling on a point of order. You have a point of order. That point of order will follow after this ruling that I have made and this instruction that I have issued.
I have an input that may assist your ruling,
I
Chair.
do not need the input to assist me. Honorable Mkwena, I'm quite capable sitting here to make this ruling. Honorable Mtileni, withdraw that
Chair.
remark or withdraw from this House.
Chair.
Honorable Mkwena, take your seat. Take your seat. Honorable Mkwena, take your seat. Honorable Mtileni, withdraw the remark or withdraw from this House.
Honorable Chairperson, I think you are being unfair to us.
Honorable...
Because your members, I mean, I'm debating,
I am
and
not...
I don't think I should be interrupted when I'm debating. I cannot, not at all, because your members, even the minister, Honorable Butana Kompela, there were some of the things that he shouldn't have said here, but he did not rule on those ones. No, I'm not going to withdraw.
Honorable Mtileni, you have been instructed to withdraw. You are refusing. You have been instructed to withdraw from the House. You are refusing. I am going to ask the usher to ask you nicely to leave this House.
Or maybe because this paragraph is bitter to you, I continue with the other paragraphs. No. I omit this one.
No.
That's my plea to you, Honorable Chairperson.
No, Honorable Member, I
haven't even done a minute of my debate. I haven't even done a minute of my...
Please leave the House.
Honorable Chair.
Please leave the House.
Just like that?
Yes.
No. I think I still have to... Maybe let me omit this paragraph and continue with the other speech.
You withdraw the remarks or you leave the House.
Is it bitter? Okay, can you allow Honorable Fana there?
Honorable Mtileni, you have refused to withdraw the remark. You are refusing to withdraw from the House. The member is refusing to withdraw from the House. I will ask for the security to remove this member from this House.
But I think you are being unfair to me.
You are instructed. You are instructed. You are a member of this House.
But I think you are being unfair.
Please leave the House. Order, members. Order. Order. Honorable Mkwena, you are on a point of order.
Yes, Chair. Chair, it is not fair what just happened here.
You are on a point of order.
Point of order. On a point of order, Chair.
You are not reviewing my decision as a presiding officer of this
Chair,
house
I'm
apply the rules of this house.
But Chair, you're not giving me a chance. You don't even know what I'm giving a point of order on.
Honorable Mukwena,
please
you are making a point of order.
Yes.
Address me on a point of order.
I am
Don't
addressing-
address me on a value judgment on the rules of this house, which I am applying.
I'm addressing you on a point of order, Chair.
Let me hear you.
The point of order, Chair, is that a member here stood up and said that the Honorable Member Mtileni was referring to the President when he said amen. There is no evidence in that statement that he made, because the first statement he said, and I'm going to repeat that, Chair, the first statement he made was, we are here listening to amen. How do these honorable people, honorable members here know that he's referring to the President?
Honorable.
And then you go and make a ruling based on their assumption. It's an assumption. We can go back to Hansard and check, and you will find that he did not say that the President is a man. Even though he is.
Have you finished addressing?
We will need to go back to Hansard, Chair, so that we can review the action that just happened now.
Order,
it is
members.
not fair, Chair. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mukwen, we can spend a lot of time playing around, semanticking, using all the words and phrases. I made that ruling. I also said why I made that ruling. There were 2 points of order, in case you did not hear properly. It was the one which I ruled on, which was in Puni, on a rule which says all members must be addressed as honorable members. The second point of order was about referring to a member of the House behaving like a tsunami and dangerous addressing this House. That ruling has been done. Therefore, the points you are making, there is no rule of this House that enables a member to review the findings of this chair. And therefore, we proceed with the business of this day. And unless you are raising a different point of view, a different point of order, I will not take your hand. You have the floor. If it is a repetition, I will rule. Proceed.
Chair, I am making a point of order, not on your ruling, but on a point of order that was raised earlier on, and I was not given a chance to raise that point of order. And that point of order then affects the decision that was made in the thing.
Honorable Mkwena, you are repetitive. You are wasting the time of this House. That point you raised earlier on, please take your seat. That is no point of order at all. Honorable members, I proceed to call the next member on the paper, the Honorable Samka. Order. Honorable Samka is on the floor.
Enkosi sihlalo ohloniphekileyo umongameli welizwe, ndivumele sihlalo ndithi ingqanga nentsiba zayo. Kodwa phambi kokuba ndingene kwintetho yam, khawukundiphe nje umzuzu omncinci ndithi xa imvula inetha ingca iba luhlaza, xa kududuma kuntshula amakhowa, kuze kuthi zakudlula indudumo amakhowa aswame phela umcimbi wawo. Ndifuna ke ukuthi ke kwi-African National Congress ezi zinto zenzeka kule ndlu yowisomthetho umongameli mhlawumbi apha kwi-NCOP awuyazi into kokuba aba bantu benza lento baphangela kube kanye ngenyanga kuthi xa kuphela inyanga bazokroba efestileni uyawubava ke bekhwaza bememeza ngorhwaphilizo besithi nalu rhwaphilizo kanti ezabo izandla zixhaphe imali ze-tax yabantu belilizwe. Ingaske ke lendlu sihlalo walendlu ke sijonge lonto. Abekho abantu abanokuphangela kube kanye ukuze bazoma kule podium bathethe Nkosi sihlalo bendithi mandidlule nje. Isihloko sanamhlanje sithi intsebenziswano kwinkqubela phambile ekwakheni ngemvisiswano ubomi obungcono kubantu belilizwe. Mandiqale ngokubulela elithuba ndilinikiweyo ithuba lokuma phambi kwalendlu ndithethela umbutho omkhulu we-African National Congress, umbutho wobawo uthambo, udizadala kade bemkhwahlaza, umbutho wobawo ulimbede, umbutho wobawo usulu, umbutho wobawo useme, umbutho wobawo uMandela. Kubalulekile sihlale sizikhumbuza ukuba kukhona mnye umbutho onyamezele imvula namaqhwa njengale African National Congress esithi ibigqiba ikhulu leminyaka kunye nesithathu. Kunjalo nje iya isomelela ngokomelela. Honorable Chairperson walendlu, emva kokuba sikhululekile ngo-1994 kuthe kwakho imigomo ejolise ekuphuculeni ubomi bethu singabemi belilizwe. Imithetho yocalucalulo yabhangiswa, silawulwa imithetho esikhokhelisa ekubeni makulinganwe ngabantu belilizwe. Umgaqo siseko ukhokhelisa amalungelo abantu amalungelo abantu kubakhuseleni kucalucalulo nasekubukuleni ngobuhlanga. Zonke inkonzo ezingundoqo ezinjengokuziswa kwemibane namanzi, ukwakhiwa kwezikolo, amaziko empilo namabala okudlala zithe zasondezwa kubantu, ingakumbi kwabo bahlala kwindawo ezisemaphandleni. Kwakhiwe izindlu ezingaphaya kwizigidi ezintathu apho kuxhamle abantu abangaphezu kwezigidi ezili-16. Kuxhotyiswe izindlu ezingaphezu kwezigidi ezili-12, nani elo lodlula imizi eyayinombane ngaphambi kuka-1994. Kuye kwandiswa inani labemi abaxhamla kwizibonelelo zikarhulumente, kuquka isibonelelo sabantwana nesibonelelo samagqala omzabalazo. Urhulumente okhokhelwe yi-African National Congress uzimisele ngakumbi kwimigomo ejolise kwiinkondezeli nakubantu abakhubazekileyo. Iinkonzo ezimigomo yokukhathalela iintsana ezisekwimfundo ekwisigaba sesiseko zisekwe kwezi ndawo sihlala kuzo. Kwiminyaka emihlanu edlulileyo kuye kwakho izithuba zengqesho ezingaphezu kwama-850. Kugaywe inkxaso kubalimi abasakhasayo abaliqela ekuphuhliseni imveliso nengeniso. Singatsho ngazwilinye sihlalo walendlu sithi lo ngumzekelo woMzantsi Afrika esithe sawulwela, apho bonke abemi bathe bazive beyinxalenye yembono nephupha elathi lakhokhela ekulweni kwethu. Lo ngumzekelo wombutho womzabalazo othe wathabatha inxaxheba ekuphuhliseni abantu bakuthi. Kungoko ke sisithi kufanelekile njengambutho okhathalayo sithi ukutshintshwa nokuguqulwa kwempilo zethu kumele ukuba kujolise ekuxhobiseni abantu bakuthi ukuba bakwazi ukuphuma kwimeko yentlupheko egqubayo. Kungoko ke sihlalo iAfrican National Congress ithathe isigqibo sokuxhasa oomama ekubaphuhliseni, ingakumbi kwela sebe lijongene nobume boomama kunye nokuzibophelela imizimveliso ephethwe ngamanina. iAfrican National Congress sihlalo iqhubeka ixhasa ukuqulunqwa kwemigomo eza kuthi ijongane nemiba echaphazela ukuxhatshazwa kwamanina aneminyaka engama-36 ukuya kuma-55 ubudala. Uphicotho nkcukacha luveza ukuba bambi baye baba ngamaxhoba okuxhatshazwa, bambi baye bawela kumgibe wokuxhomekeka etywalweni nakwiziyobisi. Sihlalo, xa sijongile singathi umba wokunikezelwa kwezindlu yintsika yokusekwa nokutshintsha ubomi babantu ukuze bube ngcono. Urhulumente ngokukhokelwa yi-ANC uceba ukwakha isiseko sasekuhlaleni, iziseko zasekuhlaleni eziluqilima ngokuthi kunikezelwe ngezindlu ezikwizinga eliphezulu. Kungoko ke iAfrican National Congress isithi makuqinisekiswe ukuba ukunikezelwa kwezindlu makujoliswe kwezo ndawo zikhulayo, yaye kuqinisekiswe ukuba amaphepha-mvume achaza abanikazi bezindlu, laa nto ibizwa ngokuba zii-title deed ngolwimi lwasemzini, anikezelwa kubanikazi ngokomthetho. Iindawo zokuhlala ezisemaphandleni nasematyotyombeni mazilungiswe ukuze abantu bakuthi baphile kwimeko ebonakalisa isidima. Umgomo wokunikezelwa kwezindlu zodidi oluphezulu kumagqala omzabalazi mayiqhutywe ibonakale, sinike imbeko newonga kumagqala neenkonde zezwe lakokwethu. Ezi nkqubo ke sihlalo zibonakalisa ukukhathala kwalo rhulumente ukhokhelwa yi-African National Congress nolawulo oluluqilima. Iinkqubo zemidlalo nenkcubeko zidlala indima ekuphuculeni imo yasekuhlaleni. Yiyo loo nto siyi-ANC sisithi makwakhiwe amabala okudlala asekuhlaleni ukuze abantu bakuthi babe namathuba okuseka imibutho yabadlali eza kuthi imemele umanyano ebantwini. Siqhubeka ke sisithi ukuchongwa kwabadlali bamaqela ezemidlalo kufuneka kuqwalaselwe ngakumbi ukuze amaqela amele eli lizwe abonakalise umfanekiso woMzantsi Afrika, hayi uhlango oluthile. Xa ndiza kwehla ke sihlalo wale ndlu ndingathanda ukuthatha eli thuba ndithi iAfrican National Congress ngumbutho okhathalayo ngenene nangenyaniso. Sisonke sibambisene sibawezile abantu bakuthi ethunzini lobumnyama nobubi borhulumente owawungasiboneli ntweni thina sizwe simnyama. Kuyimbono nomnqweno wethu ukuqhubekeka nomsebenzi omkhulu osele wenziwe ekuphuculeni ubomi babantu bakuthi. Ngako ke uguqulo lwemeko esiphila phantsi kwazo ekuhlaleni ngenjongo yokuphulula amanxeba nokuqinisekisa ukulingana kwabantu sesona siseko simemelela ekubeni masifezekiswe singumbutho olawulayo ukuze abantu bakuthi bazithande, baziqhenye, babe nelunda njengabemi abasemthethweni boMzantsi Afrika. Enkosi, ndiyabulela.
The Honorable MEC for Education of Mpumalanga, the Honorable Mhaule.
Chairperson and Deputy Chairperson, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Jacob Zuma, representatives from provinces, members of the National Council of Provinces. Greetings to you from Mpumalanga Province by my Honorable Premier, who is well, healthy, kicking and running. Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity granted to us to participate in this debate. We share a collective view that working together to build on the advances of our democracy, to build a better life for all, requires unity amongst all communal sectors of our province and nation. Such is an embodiment and a solid foundation for our quest to move South Africa forward. Madam Chair, what we appreciate about our government is that our government recognizes where work has not been done. Like now, our government recognizes that after all has been done, after all have been achieved, but we still have poverty, inequality, and unemployment, which need all of us to work as a united front, and we must come up with deliberate program to confront that head on. So what His Excellency the President was saying, as the province of Mpumalanga, in response to all the programs of government, Madam Chair, we felt that when we plan, we need to plan together with our municipalities and the entities of government. We sit together, we plan together, and at the same time, we don't just plan from the air, but our planning is guided by the socio-economic outlook of the province, so that whatever activities that we come up with speak to the economic outlooks of the province. And we felt it, we saw that of the 18 municipalities that are in our province, 8 of them are poor and are without resources. So as government, we joined hands together with national government, the Special Department of Rural Development, the Department of Water and Sanitation, to make sure that these municipalities get services, receive services like all other municipalities in a program that is called Comprehensive Rural Development Program, wherein we work with all municipalities. And at the same time, we are not forgetting the other municipalities that are better on the urban renewal strategy, and also addressing those municipalities that are receiving more people as per the statistic of 2011, that some people are moving from rural areas to cities, and we come up with strategy to address that. And also on the back to basics for all our municipalities, as the province, we have come up with an operation called Operation Vuga Sisebende. Operation Vuga Sisebende starts at a ward level, wherein all sectors of the ward come together under the chairpersonship of the chairpersonship as the ward council. The ward councillor becomes the chairperson, and all sectors in that ward, they come together, and it leads to a municipality where the executive mayor becomes the chairperson in a municipality, same as the district and the province. And in the province, Operation Vuga Sisebende is chaired by the premier himself. And on other areas wherein services, takes time for services to reach, especially the areas that are towards other provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, Limpopo. We have started a cooperation with the province of KwaZulu-Natal, wherein the two premiers co-chair that team comprising MECs, and administratively it's co-chaired by the DGs to look at all the other areas that are on the borders because they don't receive services, those areas. And we have identified areas of cooperation, like, for instance, health services, scholar transport, and even accessing of circuit offices, because we find that an area, especially in the Newcastle area, wherein a circuit office is almost 150 kilometers to reach, and the circuit office in Mpumalanga is 20 kilometers, then we have made those arrangements to work together with the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Madam Chair, on the Strategic Infrastructure Development Program, we continue to prioritize socio-economic infrastructure, for example, roads, schools, hospitals, clinics, and as well as other buildings. In the process, we work together with private sector to make sure that we create job opportunities and jobs when we implement those projects. At the same time, we not only work with private sector, but we also empower local people in some of the projects, like we have projects called Siatendela projects, wherein we get local people to come and make their own infrastructure. On the CRDP, Madam Chair, we also empower local cooperatives. As we speak, some of the local cooperatives, which we term in the province primary cooperatives, which feed to the secondary cooperatives, they supply vegetables to the program of school nutrition. And we make a market for them. And in some other areas, they make window frames, which when we build the houses, we buy from them. Also brick making, we support those cooperatives that the bricks that we buy our houses with, we buy from them. So, and that also helps to uplift the lives of our rural people. Madam Chair, we also have boarding schools as the province of Mpumalanga. The boarding schools are addressing the farming communities because most of the schools then were small and viable and one teacher teaching all subjects and all grades. So currently we have built 4 boarding schools that are working, and the lives of those farm dwellers have changed. Also, we have centralized the bursary schemes to the Department of Education, which will develop all skills for the province and make sure that our people are skilled. And as a province, we have a unique trust, which we call Mpumalanga Regional Training Trust, that looks at the out-of-school youth. They train them on construction, hospitality, motor mechanics, to be electricians, etc. As we speak, currently we have recruited 1,000 youth in partnership with private sector, Hydra Arc, for artisanship. So we are going to produce 1,000 artisans come end of 2016, because they were recruited this year, and the program, of course, has started, and the Premier will launch it now in first week of December. At the same time, we want to thank the President, for he is the man of his word. He promised that we will have universities, and indeed, that which was perceived as a dream not to be realized has been realized by Mpumalanga. The university in Mpumalanga is up and running, yet construction is continuing, but programs have started on the available infrastructure that we have. Honourable Speaker, Honourable Chairperson, let me thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The Honourable Premier Limpopo, Honourable Matabat.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, Honourable President of the country, Honourable members, premiers and MECs from from provinces. Ours is indeed about working together to build on the advances of our democracy in our struggle to ensure that we deliver a better life for all. Some ages ago, when we joined this ruling party, Honorable President, we were taught that ours is a very simple task and is one and is paramount, that of saving the people of South Africa. We were also taught that we are doing that because we are in this ruling party, the African National Congress, simply for the simple reason that we love our people. Hence, we categorized our struggle for liberation then as the war of love. Ntwa ya lerato. Therefore, Honorable President, we do understand that our collective experience proves that achieving this very important task of creating a better life for all our citizens is not an easy parade. However, as committed representatives of our people, we have availed ourselves to this necessary task and will not fail or disappoint the expectations of our people. We have, over the past 21 years of our freedom and democracy, worked harder to perfect the art of taking services to the people in order to help realize the dream of a better life for all. We have done this under very difficult conditions imposed on us by our shared history of exclusion by successive regimes of minority rule. Part of this ugly inherited legacy included the many social and economic problems facing our country. Problems such as rampant violence, lack of proper housing for majority of our people, in particular, the masses of Black Africans, lack of jobs, inadequate education and health care, and a failing economy. Honorable President, precisely as a result of the work that we have been doing, we can state here without any fear of contradiction that Limpopo is now a province on the move. As honorable members would know, we have now completely closed the Section 101B intervention chapter in Limpopo. This too is as a result of focused political leadership in the province. In this regard, we also note the support we have received from the National Cabinet and in particular this August House Chairperson. We have indeed restored the ethos of corporate governance in Limpopo. We have made significant improvement in terms of financial management systems in the provincial administration. We have completely eliminated the 1.7 billion overdraft that was accumulated before December 2011. And more importantly, we have substantially reduced the 2.7 billion unauthorized expenditure that we inherited. Honorable members, we can confidently say that Limpopo is back on a sound financial footing. Our audit outcomes also prove that we are indeed on the correct path. The picture painted is that of a qualitative improvement. The significance of these improvements is that we now have stronger muscles to move with at a desired pace in our journey to take services to the people. Honorable President, I must announce here that this outcomes from the Auditor General shows that some of the departments that have never achieved since 1994 a particular status of outcome have in this particular financial year done so. The Department of Health, for example, has never in its lifetime in that province achieved an unqualified report, but this time it did. The Premier's office, since 1994, had never in Limpopo achieved a clean audit, but this year we did. Leading by example. Honorable President, we are punching very hard against the inherited legacy I had earlier spoken about. What this means is that we are at work attracting investments, creating jobs, building houses for the needy, providing drinking water for communities, electrifying households, providing decent sanitation facilities to households, building schools for our children, and improving on the results from our schools. Honorable Chairperson and Honorable President of the country, our report to this August House is that in Limpopo today, over 83% of households have access to clean drinking water. Over 83% of our households are connected to electricity supply. We are punching hard against the background and the backlog of sanitation delivery, which is now at 43%. I was saying, Honorable President, that when I was still growing up in a place called SABC next to Rampathel, there was not even a single household that had a toilet. But now almost every household there do have a toilet. That is the harsh reality that the Honorable Chairperson here was talking about, that you cannot compare certain things. We have increased our matric pass rate to 72% in 2014, and we hope and had planned for the increase to the target that we set upon ourselves of 80%. Honorable members, Limpopo is fast becoming a destination of choice for international investors. Last time when we were here, we announced that we were in China and had entered into agreements with two very important companies, big companies. Our trade agreement with those companies has now come to fruition. Our trade agreement, for example, with the Chinese Hong Kong Mining Exchange Company, OIMO, for the establishment of South Africa Energy Metallurgical Base project is now in progress. It's no longer we will. It is there. It is now in progress. It's actual. This project, whose investment value is estimated at 38.8 billion rands, is based at the Musina Special Economic Zone and is expected to create about 19,000 direct jobs over a period of 3 years. Similar to this is the joint venture agreement between the South Africa's Women Investment Holding, Jidong Development Group, and China Africa Development Fund for a 1.65 billion rands investment into cement manufacturing, which is based in Tabazim. The project, Honorable President,
Premier, you must round up,
has already been completed. Honorable President, in conclusion, Limpopo is one of the hardest hit provinces by the recent drought that has affected large parts of our country. Despite the recent rains, our communities in particular our farming communities, remain affected by the effects of this drought. But re be re tla ba kae ge be se ka wena mookamedi wena president ya rena.
Ke a leboga morena e fedile nako.
Re a leboga.
The Honorable Kaula.
Honorable Chairperson of Council, Honorable Your Excellency the President, colleagues, Schedule 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa requires the President of the country to take an oath or solemn affirmation on assuming office. The presidential oath is the pledge of loyalty, of service before self, of integrity, of supporting and defending the Constitution of the country and all its laws. The Constitution of the Republic enjoys supremacy and provides guidance, including but not limited to moral direction to the office bearers. It is unfortunate and somewhat disheartening that the President of South Africa views a political party as coming first than the country itself. There is no oath of office for membership of a political party. On the other hand, the President of a country is head of government and citizenry, custodian to all the citizens of the country, irrespective of whatever belief in political or non-political membership. During the course of 2015, South Africa has experienced the unprecedented, alarming increase of protest action in different parts of the country. Some notable ones among these have been the violent Maulamlele protests, the Roads Must Fall protests, the Fees Must Fall protest action by students throughout the country. As we speak, the industrial action by Nehawu is right at the doorstep of Parliament. Records reflect that in 2011-12, South Africa had 11,938 protests. In 12-13, 12,399 protests. In 13-14, 13,575 protests. Each of these years recorded an increase instead of a decline in protest action in the country. When tabling the medium-term budget in October, the Minister of Finance, among other things, warned of the country's weak economic growth, the financial distress of some state-owned enterprises, and skyrocketing wage bill of the public sector. As a result, the economic growth percentage forecast at 2% for this year was lowered to 1.5%. The 2016 economic growth forecast for 2.4% was lowered to 1.7%. Unemployment, especially for the youth, which has for a long time been cause for concern, is likely to remain with us for a long, unseeable future. And instead of improving, the situation is getting worse, with more jobs being laid off and more industries relocating out of the country. Under these circumstances, instead of serious belt-tightening in the spending patterns in the public sector, the Auditor General has once more raised concerns on irregular expenditure, which totaled 25 billion in the previous financial year. He has raised concern of the big spending departments of education, health, and public works, especially in the provinces, which continue to struggle with their proper financial accounting. Let me divert a little, Honorable Chairperson, and refer to an interesting conversation of just 2 days ago. When interviewed on these matters on ENCA, the former Premier of Mpumalanga, Honorable Matthew Posa, had this to say, and I quote, "The ANC promise around better life for all was highly pitched. There is no money, and government must come out clean and tell South Africans there is no money for promises made." He goes on to say, I quote, "The economy of the country is in a bad shape, the SABC is badly managed, Kandla issue equals corruption. There is concern around constitutional matters in the country. The constitution comes first, and this is a matter of common sense," unquote. These are very deep comments, especially coming from within the circles of the ruling party. Similar comments have been made before by former President Motlanthe, former President Mbeki, and others. Like the ANC has always been saying, the IFP agrees with the sentiment that indeed South Africa after 1994 is a much better country than it was in 1994. But the concern that we should all share with fear is that the climax that South Africa reached post-independence has been anticlimaxing over the past 6-7 years. Therefore, at a time like this, when the moral compass is at a crossroad and reason cannot appeal to pride for swallowing of denial and acceptance of reality, one can only repeat the great words of Alan Paton, and I quote, "Cry the beloved country," unquote, of course, in another setting. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, sir. The Honorable Khaila.
Order. Honorable Chairperson, His Excellency the President of South Africa. Local government remains with a huge shortage of technical skills needed to advance democracy and make the lives of the people, in particular poor rural citizens, better. Amongst other, poor recruitment practices and political interference in appointment is further complicating matters at municipal level. The 20-year review report released on the eve of 2014 election revealed, amongst others, that the national government has responded by developing minimum competency requirement for senior managers in local government. However, rigorous implementation of these regulations is yet to be seen. As a result, municipalities are still failing in recruiting the right skills for the job. This important sphere of government is still struggling to ensure that poor communities feel that they are being heard. The review states that the protests by local communities are prompted by a range of concerns, including access to services, the quality of services, and the perceived non-responsiveness of local government. Clearly, we still need to ensure that the mechanism of promoting participation, accountability, and responsiveness are usually affected. In building this responsive governance within the context of development state, we must quickly go beyond the labeling South Africa as a development state, but work aggressively to make it to be. A classic development state is needed if we are to realize the theme of this debate. Such a state must be seamless web of political bureaucratic structure that is able to influence the structures of socio-economic life of all citizens. Its elements must include an elite bureaucracy, a political system supportive of bureaucracy, a market conforming to the state intervention in the economy, and a breathing organizational machinery. Political leadership to lead such a development state must be oriented to ensure enabled development with autonomous professional administration, a product-oriented private sector, and performance-oriented government structure. In order to improve our delivery skills at local sphere of government, we need to foster a sense of mission. The recruitment processes must be meticulous and attractive to experts who already have lived to the challenge of maintaining high standards in their jobs and society. We must invest more in creating a sense of unity and corporate coherence amongst public administration and make them capable of formulating, planning, and implementing policies. The autonomy of public service must be directed towards national goals. The local social economic infrastructure like roads, communication, and others have not been kept up to standards due to the previous apartheid governments because they were made for very few people. The number of people have then increased and they deteriorate and are unable to meet the demand of the people. In this regard, we wish to prioritize the lack of sufficient intervention with regard to aggressively improving rural infrastructure. The current interventions are insufficient and tend to benefit municipalities in urban areas. Lastly, but not least, the moral decay in society is general contributing to other social ills, in particular crime against women. This calls for an urgent addressing of moral decay, instilling positive values. This is more relevant as the nation unites the fight against violence against women and children. Okokugqibela, Premier, siyambulela, if Free State is fighting crime, I hope that you can take cue from the former Commissioner Ubhekicele. Mhlawumbe islogan yasidinga, tata esake sithi wanya tsotsi inkosi.
The Honorable Van Lingen.
Honourable Chairperson, in 1994 we triumphed the devastating apartheid system. Nelson Mandela and the ANC's predecessors worked tirelessly to build a non-racist society. This change was in my heart. I had hope for the new South Africa. I longed for an inclusive South Africa that I can truly believe in, a country that will be governed well for all the people in our land. This diminished under the leadership of the Honourable President Jacob Zuma, Gwedi Mantashe, and supposed allies who have not learnt anything from their mentors and the great leaders who preceded them. Today, more jobs are lost every day, with the extended unemployment rate at 36%, of which 66% are young South Africans. It is not a good feeling, and it is a dreadful reality. Crime has increased to a level that makes people fear to walk in the street and our children to walk to school. And for every woman and child fearing violent crimes against the most vulnerable. Honourable Chairperson, our reality today is that the President's approval is down, dropping by as much as 28% from 64% in 2011 to 36% in 2015. In any democracy, this would cause a vote of no confidence even by the President's own members in a democracy. Today, corruption rates put South Africa in a 36th position out of 102 countries. Education is not a priority for the leadership of the ANC. Students must resort to strikes for poor students to have their studies paid. It is unfortunate to hear that people must strike against poor service delivery, and the leadership of this country ignores it until these strikes actually get violent, still without any action or delivery. The country is actually falling apart, especially at local government level. The ratio of South Africa's debt to GDP is now at 47% and budgeted to increase to 49%. The Zuma regime has been running the country into the ground. The interest to service the debt is a major expense and fast-growing item on the annual budget. Today, servicing the debt already exceeds the education budget. Tomorrow, the interest alone can be more than the education and defence budgets together. What is going to happen after that? The Zuma government is making South Africa into a lawless, debt-ridden country like Zimbabwe. The country's credit ratings are so close to junk status, and every time it comes up, we hold our breath. Every or any government should see the red lights flashing. Anybody who cares for South Africa would see red lights flashing. The Zuma leadership has this tendency for big bloated deals such as an unaffordable nuclear project, an equal share in the BRICS New Development Bank, and many more. Yet, there is no understanding for foreign direct investment that must contribute to economic growth that will create the desperately needed jobs for South Africans. The current growth rate for the third quarter year-on-year stands at 1%, which is down from 1.3%. It is the lowest growth rate since the 2009 recession. The Honourable President has no legacy to leave other than mountains of debt, a grotesque unemployment rate, poor education, corruption, and the poorest levels of delivery and accountability. Honourable Chairperson, this debate is about South Africans taking note and no longer hearing cheap talk and lip service by the ANC. Nelson Mandela said, if we care, if the ANC does to us what apartheid has done to us, we must do to the ANC what we have done to apartheid. We are in agreement. We need leadership that will grow the economy and will create jobs. Good governance has been proved under DA governments. Chairperson, and before I end, I want to thank you personally for your leadership as the chairperson of the NCOP, for your strength of character over the last 2 weeks here in Parliament. It has been tough, and we appreciate what you have done. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The Honourable Dlamini.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. My greetings to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Honourable Premiers in our midst, Honourable MECs, leadership from SALGA, led by the Chairperson, Honourable Councillor Manyoni, Honourable Members, Special Delegates. Honourable Chair, just before I continue, just a short message to those who don't respect His Excellency the President and think that people are looking at the President. Be alert that people are not looking at the President, they are looking at you, that you are a disrespecting party that does not respect your own leader. Unfortunately, he is the only president in this country. You can't have another president. You got to respect him. Whether you like him or not, he is the president at current. His Excellency the President, we take this podium with honor and humility to have you in this house, though you are not compelled to be in this house, but it is an indication that you shows the seriousness and the importance you attach to intergovernmental relations, the role that is played by provinces as well as local government. We really appreciate that, Honourable President. It provides a rare platform for us to express our excitement on the achievements and gains we have made as a country and as people, more importantly, as women of South Africa, after the triple oppression that we suffered during the apartheid regime. Honourable President, some of these people who are talking here today, critiquing what the ANC has successfully done, they are from the apartheid regime. They are making sure that we go back to that. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen.
There is a point of order. Please take your seat. Honourable Van Lingen.
Honourable Chairperson, I think it's Rule 42. This speaker is misleading the House. None of the speakers that have spoken so far are from the apartheid regime. Let's just get that straight.
Thank you, ma'am. Order, members. Order. Honourable Dlamini, none of the speakers today have come from the apartheid regime. Please withdraw.
Okay. I will withdraw that, but Chair, I want to say, a democratic alliance
Order, members.
is an alliance between the Nationalist Party and the Democratic Party that forms DA. You are from the apartheid regime.
Honourable Van Lingen, please take your seat. Honourable Dlamini, you are speaking about the parties, but you referred to members who have spoken. And that is the reason why I said you must withdraw, because we cannot prove, order, we cannot prove that these members in this House were actually members there. So please withdraw.
The members, Honourable Chair, I withdraw, but the party is from the apartheid regime. Honourable Chair, the debate takes place just a day after the launch of 16 days of no violence against women and children.
On a point of order, Honourable Dlamini, Honourable Chris Hatton.
Honourable Chair, the member withdrew, but then she said a party is from the apartheid regime. she's misleading the House once again. The facts are that the National Party was swallowed by the ANC, and that's why the ANC is what they are today.
Honorable Dlamini. Order, members. I want progress in this House. Honorable Dlamini, can you just withdraw unconditionally?
I withdraw, Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. Please
but
proceed.
They got the message. We are pleased, Honorable Chair, to note that with the ANC-led government, we have moved from hard unpaid labor in farms to the chambers of this parliament, to the corporate world, businessmen and businesswomen, from a divided society to one nation, from an apartheid regime or government to a democratic government. This is all by the wisdom of the African National Congress. In this achievement, we have moved with our women side by side, though there are still some challenges. Honorable Chairperson, allow me to quote from the Women's Charter of April 1994, open quote, "Poor and rich, these are evils that need not to exist, but they exist. The society in which we live is divided into poor and rich, into non-European and European. They exist because they are privilege for few, discrimination and harsh treatment for many. We, women, have stood and will stand shoulder to shoulder with our menfolk in a common struggle against poverty, race, class, discrimination, and the evils of caliber." Close quote. His Excellency, the President, we want to thank the African National Congress because we have achieved most of the above through its leadership in government, though there is still a lot to be done, but a number of them we have been able to achieve. But just recently, Honorable Chair, we were taken aback in this House when an issue of the caliber came to reality again, when the Democratic Alliance now moved a sober, matured, a reliable member, a black woman, to the National Assembly and replaced her with a white woman.
It is a point of order, ma'am.
Chairperson, that was a racist remark, and it's not acceptable in this House. We can replace our people just like any other political party in this House on merit.
Honorable members, Honorable Dlamini, just for my clarity, can you repeat yourself? I was looking at something when you spoke.
But just recently, I hope my minutes are not taken. Okay. But just recently, we were taken aback in this House when an issue of the caliber came to reality again, when the Democratic Alliance removed a sober, matured black woman to National Assembly and replaced her with a white woman.
Order, members. This is a repetition of something we dealt with last week. And this refers to the Honorable Bridget, who was a member, who was replaced by another member. This is a dicey one because, strictly speaking, there is nothing racist in this. It is a matter which, on both sides, it is not racial. The honorable member refers to Honorable, was it Masango, who was a member who has since moved to the National Assembly, and Honorable Engelbrecht, who has replaced. I'm saying, strictly speaking, there is nothing racist with this reference. It might be, however, because we are repeating, I had to rule on this in last week's sitting. It might be in the interest of this House to let this matter rest. Because Honorable Van Lingen is right. Parties do have the right to replace as and when they please. And we have really now, we have repeated and repeatedly ruled on this matter. Honorable Dlamini, we get to your point, but please leave this matter alone now. Proceed with your speech.
Taken, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, these tendencies are setting up women against each other. It's a bad tendency. Besides the color, one would have expected, Honorable Chair,
members,
something better, but the reverse is true. This is a clear indication how much the DA still embraces the apartheid tendencies. No wonder the statement made by Honorable Kola Barnett. Honorable Chairperson and the House.
Honorable Dlamini, there is another point of order. Yes, ma'am.
The DA is carrying on with their racist actions. I cannot believe that this is allowed in this House.
Thank you, ma'am. Your point is made, Honorable Dlamini. Accord the DA that it was born after apartheid was removed popularly by the people and the ANC in particular. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and the House. As said earlier, that there are still some challenges that women still face. We deliberately use an American report because we are in a global world. Problems that are faced by women in this country are the same problems that are faced by women in other parts of the world. And also to show those who think that South Africa is hell and America is heaven, it is a fallacy. In fact, some challenges that are faced by American women has been dealt with in South Africa. According to the Shiva's report, a special edition, 2014, that is the most recent report, some of the major issues that are facing women in the US.
The road to greatness is not an easy one. It's rough, tough, and full of barriers. And there's only one way to master it. Never, ever stop. Dauntless. The all-new Audi Q7.
Oh, hi. Just brushing up on my party. We are going to make it number 12. Official. Let me teach you a quick word.
Yeah.
Quite a star. A woman who has mastered the art of dancing in high heels. It's up and flick.
Get a bottle of Glenfiddich, 12-year-old, with 2 glasses for only $3.99.99 and help make party South Africa's 12th official language. Tops at Spa. Shake things up.
SABC News. We report, contextualize, and present news and current affairs honestly, fairly, and fully. We consider it a duty to provide consistent, relevant, useful, and top-quality information and analysis. Our mission is to provide credible, accurate, and interesting news programming, bringing news into everyone's homes in everyone's languages. Thank you, South Africa, for relying on SABC News for quality news output and for making us your #1 source of information. SABC News, Africa's news leader.
And I'm production Chetty Miller, SAB Miller, and Anheuser-Busch InBev. It's something that I need to learn to say more often.
Will together produce around 1/3 of the world's beer.
It is a mouthful. Have you ever considered skin bleaching?
Nigeria tops the list of African countries with 77% of its women bleaching their skin.
Now I can see that it is not good because it affects my face and some of my body parts.
Thousands of Arab Israelis and Palestinians participated in a big rally.
Flight MH17 was shot down by a Russian-made missile.
How those chips may fall is a prediction best left to the currency of time.
That's Primetime News, Africa Journal, and Your World on SABC News.
Welcome back. China has pledged to continue helping African countries with economic development. This according to the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. He was speaking on the sidelines of a forum in Beijing, saying that China will work closely enhancing cooperation in order to achieve win-win results. Wang has also said that the summit will review and adopt 2 documents outlining cooperation plans between the two sides in the next 3 years. The focus will be on helping African countries build 3 systems of industrialization, food security and public health, as well as disease prevention. Well, the Forum on China-African Cooperation has been in existence for 15 years. The attendance is upgraded from a ministerial level to a summit of leaders. This upgrading meets the board expectations of the African nations and the current needs of the development of China-Africa relations. Now, South Korea has ordered a recall of more than 100,000 Volkswagen vehicles. Its Environment Ministry says its own testing showed that Volkswagen intentionally manipulated a diesel emissions device in vehicles with an older engine. Well, South Korea is the first country after the United States to announce measures based on its own testing to address the diesel emissions scandal. In September, Volkswagen admitted it installed software in up to 11 million diesel vehicles worldwide. They vastly understated their actual emissions of smog causing nitrogen oxides. Well, among imported brands, VW's share fell from 14.2% in September to 5.4% in October. Now, tens of thousands of people have celebrated Mass with Pope Francis at a university campus in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. The Pope made a plea for traditional values, saying that the health of any society depends on the health of its families. Crowds have been waiting in the rain since the early hours of this morning. Pope Francis waved towards thousands as he was driven past them on the way to the service. He spoke about the need for a caring society. Ahead of the Mass, the Pontiff urged Kenyans to work for peace and reconciliation. He arrived in Kenya on Wednesday, the first stop on a 3-nation tour. So, our reporter in Nairobi, Sarah Kimani, has been following the Pope's arrival and the Mass. Sarah, good afternoon. I mean, this has been a highly anticipated visit to Kenya, both on a religious level and I suppose just the mere fact of the profile of the visit. What's the mood been like? How have Kenyans received the Pope today?
Good afternoon. Maybe to just talk about the just concluded Mass. The mood was electric, exciting, anticipation was high. And indeed, when the Pope came into the stadium, into the grounds where he was holding the Mass, people broke into song and dance, ululation, cheering, just as it was expected. And he also did not disappoint when he gave his message. And people kept cheering in between the message. The music was loud and everybody was dancing despite the heavy downpour. Some people have actually spent the night on the grounds. Others came in as almost 6 hours before the service.
All right, what stands out about his message this morning? I mean, this was a first African Mass for him. What has he told Africans?
Well, as a lot of people had actually expected that he would continue with the message of reconciliation, the message of peace. But when he spoke here at the service, he instead chose to talk about the family unit, telling Kenyans that Africans are known to respect family values, Africans are known to respect their women. And so he asked them to continue with that spirit, saying that it is important that the family is respected as the pillar of society and as the building block of society. And he also spoke about women, saying that men must not be arrogant and they must not devalue their women, talking about the poor, asking that society continues to take care of the poor. He touched a little bit on terrorism, asking Kenyans not to fear and to stand firm.
We were speaking earlier, Sarah, when you told me that he was perhaps on his way to the United Nations Environment Programme headquarters. That, of course, is just outside Nairobi. What's the agenda for that this afternoon? I believe he has said a few remarks about climate change.
Yes, he will be talking about climate change and about how it has affected the poor. Remember, Africa is home to some of the most poorest people. And also, it is one of the continents that has been battered by the effects of climate change, even though they are the least contributors to global warming. So he will be urging international leaders to make firm decisions when they meet in Paris next month. He will also be talking about what he feels that African countries can do to adapt to the effects of climate change.
All right, you'll keep an eye on that one for us. Sarah Kimani in Nairobi, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. Well, that's a wrap from the news team. We're back tomorrow, but your weather conditions are up next after the break. Stay with us.
The road to greatness is not an easy one. It's rough, tough, and full of barriers. And there's only one way to master it. Never, ever stop. Dauntless. The all-new Audi Q7.
Oh, hi. Just brushing up on my party. We are going to make it number 12. Official. Let me teach you a quick word.
Yeah.
Quite a star. A woman who has mastered the art of dancing in high heels. It's up and flick.
Get a bottle of Glenfiddich 12-year-old with 2 glasses for only $3.99.99 and help make party South Africa's 12th official language. Tops at Spa. Shake things up.
At Philips, we wake up every morning and ask, how can innovation make a difference to you? How can thousands of LEDs bring the pyramids to life and light up hearts? How can an air fryer make delicious traditional meals with up to 80% less fat? How can portable ultrasound be part of a program to help lower infant mortality in Uganda? Because the only innovation that really matters is innovation that matters to you. Innovation and you. Philips.
The son of Africa, Trevor Noah, is leaving America in stitches.
I never dreamed that I would one day have, well, 2 things really. An indoor toilet and a job as host of The Daily Show.
We are the first to bring you the latest films around the globe.
Dear white people, the minimum requirement of black friends needed to not seem racist has just been raised to 2.
Cobhams Asako is a gifted blind musician, a master of soothing notes from the piano.
And I love to sit behind the piano. You know, that also helps me find inspiration.
Join Refulo Mulwa every Friday for that 1-hour weekly dose of art and entertainment news at 9 p.m. on Trends.
Well, once again, it's another hot day throughout the northern parts of South Africa. But before we get to the temperatures, this is our rainfall forecast. So we do expect some very isolated showers throughout the northern interior of South Africa, and then isolated to scattered showers here towards the southwestern, or rather the southern and southeastern parts. And then for the wind, it's quite windy there around the Cape Peninsula with that southeaster, as you can see, averaging at 55 kilometers an hour. Now for tomorrow, once again, some rain across the eastern parts of South Africa, so isolated showers throughout the northern region, scattered here towards KwaZulu-Natal, and then some light rain still possible throughout the southeastern and southern regions. And then it won't be that windy around the Cape Peninsula, as you can see, that wind only at 30. Over the interior, the wind will be moderate to fresh. Now for today, ahead of the rainfall, we do have a warning for high veld fire danger, and as you can see, it's throughout the central, northern and eastern interior of the country. But on to your maximum temperatures. So for today, lower 40s there towards the Limpopo Valley, also quite hot across the western bushveld throughout the central regions, maximums around the lower to mid-30s, and then much cooler here towards the southern regions where you can see a shade of blue, a shade of green as well. But it's staying warm here for Graafrenet and Craddock. Overnight, another cool evening throughout the central regions, minimums below 10 for Bethlehem, Bloemfontein and De Arm. Then slightly warmer here towards the western regions as well as here towards the eastern and northern parts. So mild and
so that we turn them to become good road safety ambassadors.
It is not only taxi drivers which are reckless.
If we can impact positively on the attitude that people have, for them to realize it is their lives that they're protecting. And the RTIA, as an entity under the Department of Transport, is a mechanism of government that seeks to provide evidence of the constitutional imperative of saving people's lives.
Road safety or safe roads or safe behavior on our roads will benefit all South Africans.
The majority of people that perish on our roads are actually fully fit, healthy, economically active members of the public. And it has a negative impact on the development of our country if we are losing those people.
Road traffic offences, which is basically the main contributory factor to unsafe conditions on our roads, is not adhering to the rules of the road.
We must ask ourselves, today, what am I doing about road safety? Am I going to be responsible when I undertake my journey towards work, when I undertake my journey to go to school?
A beg for delivering young democracy without a bloodshed in the name of civil war. Oors, Wes, Days and South Africa as birth. While we have had many national cringe-worthy moments as a people, we have never strayed too far from the center, which is constitutionalism. Mature democracies are often judged by the steadfast commitment to the rule of law and the Constitution. South Africa has taken great leaps and strides to stand among those giants, both of its constitution, which sets apart from many of our counterparts on the continent for its progressive nature. Honorable members, ours isn't a constitution only with the paper it is crafted on. It breathes life to independent Chapter 9 institutions who safeguard not only constitutional values, but the very people who elected us into office. However, Honorable Chairperson, we have seen the rapid unraveling of the fiber that make up these great achievements. We have seen the complete disregard of the Constitution manifested through the political intolerance, mostly being perpetuated by senior people at high level, giving reckless instructions to people on the ground. We have seen the undoing of the gains made when the chaplain institutions are attacked and their recommendations are being ignored.